Futures back to positive territory here this morning following comments from a Russian foreign minister suggesting there may be a way forward between Russia and Ukraine when it comes to not using any sort of military interaction. That followed a weekend phone call between U.S. President Joe Biden and Russian President Putin that seemingly resulted in no steps forward. But these positive comments this morning, a step in the right direction. So back to positive territory. Good to see after the sell-off, steep sell-off we saw on Friday, all three U.S. markets to the downside in a big way. We had the Dow down 1.4%, S&P off nearly 2% to end the week, and it was the NASDAQ that led the way, 2.8% on Friday to the downside. For the NASDAQ, interest rate hikes to come also on investors' minds today. The Fed going to hold a closed board meeting at 11:30 this morning. Lots of people talking over the weekend about maybe even the possibility of a surprise hike before we get to March. Individual names to watch out for this week. We get NVIDIA earnings coming up on Wednesday. Walmart set to report. AMC set to report this week as well. Lots of things moving in the pre-market as well. Peloton back in the news. We'll talk about that. And big tech was weak, but trying to lead back to the upside. Monday, February 14th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. There we go, back in positive territory, as I mentioned, for all three U.S. markets here. Basically flat, but well off the early lows we saw. TSX futures here in Toronto pointing to a slightly lower open still. That's mostly due to the move in crude oil. You can see 0.76 now to the downside. It was more than that on some OPEC comments. We'll talk about energy markets here a little bit coming up. Bitcoin and Ethereum, yeah, back to positive territory as well after starting the day. Negative overall. Good luck to kick off a brand new trading week following what we saw on Friday. Good morning, guys. We made it through to an interesting Monday here. Again, positive comments coming early on this morning, lifting markets back to positive territory here as Russia seemingly thinks at least there's a way forward that may not involve any sort of military action.
Here we go. Monday morning, and maybe cooler heads have prevailed. The markets hopefully can like that a little bit here. I hope everybody enjoyed the game. It was certainly an exciting one. I'm going to shout out to my favorite ad, well, one of my favorite ads, Joy Burst. Shout out to Brampton on that one if you can figure it out. And I thought Polestar had a pretty entertaining ad as well. But the game itself was pretty good. We talked about it already, Sean. Yeah. One horrible call notwithstanding, I think they made up for it late in the game. But pretty good battle.
Yeah, great battle. I didn't watch any of the Super Bowl ads, so no, I had it on pause and I was fast forwarding through everything. And then in Canada, we don't get the ads, right? But I got to watch them on
online,
YouTube,
right? Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Yeah, apparently there was an AMC ad as well. What up to Niagara Charlie for E-Trade about some meme stocks. So I think that could be going. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. We got the red on today, so we'll say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, and hopefully you spend it with your loved ones. And if not, that's fine. Maybe save yourself some money. Yeah, Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Should be a good day to trade. We've got the sticky note ready to blast off here today. Kanye was going a little nuts over the weekend, if you guys saw that. Look, Super Bowl was a lot of fun. Should be a fun day in the markets today, and I'm nice to see the markets battling back. I mean, that's, you know, I woke up this morning and I was like 4 or 5 a.m. or something. I looked at my phone and I was like, what the heck? The market was down another 1.5%, but it looks to be flat right now, open for the NASDAQ. So far, so good, Brendan. Let's see what happens today. Yeah, there was a positive movement, at least in the right direction here, as far as the talks between, I mean, this phone call that happened on Saturday between President Biden and Putin seemingly resulted in nothing coming from it. But now it looks like there was some positive development. So good to see the market back in positive territory. I'll be the one to inform everyone, I guess. We said on Friday Miss V was going to be back in the building today. Her flight was delayed, so tomorrow for Miss V. She's fine, though. All is well. We'll wish her a safe trip and get back to it on Tuesday with Miss V. So, yeah, this Ukrainian foreign minister lifting the entire market back to the upside here this morning, discussing some possibilities, at least, to avoid some military action as far as Ukraine and Russia goes. So
That caused a big spike in futures, a big spike. I was watching Uber here as well. There was some separate news, but big spike in the futures, big spike in oil markets, back in the right direction here.
Yeah, I mean, you saw, well, a slight pullback in oil. You see some of the defense names start to move. I think the bigger thing might be what we sort of saw with a bit of a buy program come in on, the NASDAQ, almost green. I mean, we're not really there yet. But you guys remember, on Friday, it's like nothing could stop these names and these markets from just absolutely, falling like a rock. There was basically no bid anywhere. So it's pretty good to be able to see a little bit of support come in here this morning. I don't necessarily think that, this is all good and we're going to be out of the waters, because we're still talking about, I forget which bank it was, saying that they think by end of year it's like 2.25 is where the funds rate will be, let alone the 1.75, which is being forecasted. So we do still have some other things that we have to get through. A few more earnings, bullets to dodge as well. That could be pretty interesting. Nvidia this week I think is going to be a pretty big one, but it's a good start to what seemed like was going to be one of those panic Mondays. But lots of key levels that still have to be held. Unfortunately, it's kind of to be able to say that, like you look at Friday's close, we essentially are just trying to get back up to those points in the market. So you're still teetering on some very key levels and individual names like AMD. This morning, when that buy program came in around 7:30 or so, AMD was bouncing off its 200 period. So you still have a lot of names which are testing key support areas.
All right. Look, a great bounce. Shout out to Rob here. Thanks, Rob, for asking how the practice was on Saturday for hockey. So, we had an 8 right here. We had an 8 a.m. game, actually, about 20 minutes away from our place. So we were up early on Saturday and then early again on Sunday with curling. So curling's 8:30 every morning on Sunday. Like, what am I doing? And then hockey was, 8 a.m. on Saturday. So it was a fun day, but and then there was gymnastics all day on Thursday. So it was a fun, exciting day for the kids. I wrote down a couple of key things. If we're going to talk about big cap tech, we might as well just go over to Microsoft. For me, it's my favorite stock to trade there. I was looking at AMD. I mean, there's a lot of stock are going to be at key levels here when you open up. So I think the best thing to do is sort of just let cooler heads prevail right now. Let the NASDAQ and everybody else settle down. We were just up. Like when we opened the show, we were up like 0.5, 0.6%, something like that. Now you're down to 1,400 again, 14.2, but coming to the downside, looking to break through 14.2 right now. So it looks like the NASDAQ does want to go to the downside here. Got like a little bedhead action going on. And so I'm just, a little bit nervous right away. We were looking at Microsoft 295 right in here to see if it was going to be a positive day. Then we'd play off some of these lows that happened on Friday. We saw the market absolutely tank Friday afternoon heading into the close. We had a great short on the Qs, and then the market continued to move down. Remember we had that Xilinx deal, so it looks like it's still halted. Probably not going to be open to trade.
It's
closed, so it's now closed. So there'll be no more additions or deletions, I was going to say. It's a combination there. Go to your point about AMD. So now AMD has the Xilinx deal behind them. We don't have to worry about what their stock is doing versus what AMD is doing and vice versa. So that's nice to see. And I'm looking at AMD as well, man. That 110 looks pretty juicy. There's a whole bunch of them. I only have 5 names on the list. And then apparently AMC today too, like I mentioned there, we did have, I didn't see it, but there was the commercial there for E-Trade. Shout out to Niagara Charlie for this one. And we did have a monster move. It wasn't Friday. Friday we went 18 to 19, 18 to 20. But there was this big move early on Thursday where we started down here at 18 and busted to 21. So I still think AMC has a chance to go here, especially if you can get in the low 18. So there's a lot of opportunity today. Just got to pick your poison.
The other angle we should investigate here as far as the market is concerned, guys, are these interest rates. As we said, they're going to hold a special meeting, closed-door meeting, for the Fed this morning at 11:30. I was reading a number of people over the weekend, a number of analysts, suggesting that a surprise hike, not necessarily could happen, but definitely worth kind of keeping in your mind, at least for today. So 11:30 a.m. Eastern is when this meeting will at least start. When it will end and what will come from it remains to be seen, though.
Yeah, look, if there's a surprise hike, I kind of feel the market did some reacting to that on Friday. At least you want to think that that's the case. But the thing that would concern me there is, we've got the acknowledgement that they obviously think that, they've gone past the transitory and whatnot. And I feel like taking this step, like just days after bulls, we should talk about mid-meeting or in between meeting hikes, if they were to make that step days after it was even just like mentioned into the ether, like that would almost signal to the markets that they're panicking, they're behind the curve, and the markets don't like that. Generally speaking, like you want that certainty. They want to feel like they know where the Fed is going. And I'm not saying, look, I would probably tend to agree that they ignored inflation for too long. That's just me. But that you still don't want it to seem like they're panicking. And you have, like, you look at what's going on, just the SPY right now, rejecting that 50, breaking back, towards that 200. Like, this is the kind of day where if they were to do something like that, I can't see how you're holding recent support levels. Like, there's just, what that would do to the markets, in my estimation, would cause like a horrible down Monday, especially with the geopolitical risk, with all of the pressure that's on commodities right now. It's just, to me, it would almost seem crazy for them to go that route. So part of me is saying, yeah, they're not going to do it today, but what do I know? They can do the Fed. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. It's not, I don't think it's a 0% chance, but certainly it would seem crazy to me if they were to make that step this quick.
Yeah, there always has to be rumors in this market. So let's just wait to see what happens. I mean, all you can do is react. I'm not going to take positions hoping or expecting a rate hike or a cut. Well, it won't be a cut, but anything like that. I don't think you can really trade off of Fed speak in a day unless you happen to hit it super early. Like the news comes out, oh my God, it's a surprise, then you short it. But I mean, the algos will be all over that trade. So I think here's the cues up here. I think you just keep respecting levels that you're looking at. And I know we'll have Arun come on in a bit, and he'll talk about levels. And I think that's the most important thing, regardless of what the Fed does. Maybe the Fed pushes the NASDAQ back to 15,000. Maybe it pushes it down to 14,000. And that's a level you're looking at, right? Here on the cues, the dump off spot is right where we are right now from Friday. This is the lowest spot on Friday, 345.88. So it looks like we're trying to test that low right now. I'm going to take a short here if we can break that. So 345.88, the low here on Friday. I'm going to go short. And 345.88 here on Friday. Take that and just see what happens if we can hold some of these levels. So we'll give it about $1 worth of work here, but 345.80 here. We'll take that short. That's the level from Friday. And if the market sends southbound here, then at least we'll have something on. But the thing about it is that like Putin apparently was just agreeing that maybe military action wasn't necessary. I don't know if that means that nothing's going to happen. I mean, I think a lot of this stuff gets taken out of context. So the market needs a little push down. I feel like we do test some of those NASDAQ lows that were made. I don't know where my daily chart is, but no, I don't have it up. So just a 20-minute, the NASDAQ lows that were made about 2 weeks ago, that's what we're going to test. I'm going to go short right now, though.
The Fed's Bullard on CNBC right now, guys, just saying a couple of interesting things. The tightening should be front-loaded, which kind of corresponds with what I was reading on the weekend. A lot of people seemingly thinking that maybe they do a quarter point before March and then another quarter point in March. So that was one comment. The other one, initial phase of Fed tightening should be relatively painless. Depends on who you ask, I guess. Wanted to mention Coinbase quickly here because we had a huge move, or not a huge move, but a nice positive move for Bitcoin on those initial Russian comments. We saw cryptocurrencies come off significantly late in the day on Friday, as well as equities did. But Coinbase up here, another one with a pretty cool Super Bowl ad on Sunday.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to say that having interesting ads is actually going to get you anywhere. If so, I probably would be looking at Polestar today, and I don't even think I called it up. SoFi, on the other hand, we're probably going to talk about because that's actually moving. The real story is sort of what's going on in the crypto markets, because you've been trying to find some support. I think that little bit of a rally that we were just seeing in the markets did bode well for crypto. I have written down like this 195 to 196 area in case coin could have broken back out, but this sort of sits right, like this up to 200 also sits as some obvious resistance when you look at the chart here. And again, if you're trading this, you're watching spot prices, so it can be tricky to group this into, say you want to trade some of your tech stocks, say you want to trade some of these high flyers. It's a little bit difficult to focus on a Coinbase when you have to make sure you're watching spot prices. But if we roll over 195, that's an obvious resistance here. 200 you can sort of see sitting here as well. And then there's a lot of chop above there. I mean, it's set up that it's an easier name to be just looking for a bit of a short. And only going to say only one time because I don't think we put this one on our watch list, and I hate to jump topics here on us, but I just want to point out Splunk. I don't think it made our list, but Cisco is interested potentially in picking them up with a $20 billion offer. That's why they're up 10%. And they're breaking out on the daily chart, just quickly showing here. Here's your consolidation breaking on the daily, but Splunk, it is because Cisco is interested in buying them. I think Coinbase has two big resistance levels, 96 and 200, both worth playing off of. Splunk's going to be on my radar because I think as long as it can hold a 125, that also should be worth looking into trading. Not much that's up as much as this is, but actual news there.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. Always buyouts. You saw Microsoft come in and make a big purchase there, so we'll see if Cisco can do something. So we are short right now on the market. The Qs takes that 80 level. We're short 88. I mean, literally the exact level that we wanted. So let's wait to see here. I got a bid down here at 343. Let's see if we test some of those bottoms in the Qs here. See if we can try to make $2. We're just going to give this $1 back up, 347. If that breaks, then we're going to get out of this name. So we'll try to give it about $2 or so target to the downside here on the Qs, and then we'll give it to 347 on the way back up. That means we take out VWAP. That means we take out the 50 period, and then we start to climb upside. So we're going to do that. I know my charting doesn't have all the periods on here, but I've looked back. Yeah, the 50 period is still around 247. So we'll look at that, and then if it goes back up, hey, we'll get out of this one. But I do like the short here on the Qs. So thank you to everybody there in the chat. Check out our watches.tradertv.live. That's kind of the rundown that we're going to do, and you can also get the sticky note at Trader TV, Sean. But right now, short the Qs with an early position.
10-year guys, back to day highs here on these comments from Bullard, it would appear. I just got to scroll over a little bit more here if we can. Trust me when I say it was back to day highs. I don't know why this chart is not cooperating right now, but big spike on some of the yields right now as well. We're going to talk about energy stocks coming up here. There was comments from OPEC this morning that sent oil lower after another multi-year high back on Thursday and Friday of last week, saying that essentially demand is in line with production currently, and prices, the key I thought was prices are not too high for consumers yet. I filled up my car here on Sunday for $1.60 per liter.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's getting up there. And the truth of the matter is, like, you know, like, it's not just like petroleum's in everything, man. And that's the thing with even like copper, aluminum as well. Like, it's
Aluminium,
as I should be saying, as I've been told over and over again. That's the proper way to say it.
The British way.
The
proper way.
I don't know.
No,
Man.
we're not British, so.
But aluminium, we're going to say here. But look, it's the other thing that strikes me about this conflict is before you had lots of people saying before this issue that fundamentally oil could be over $100, 125 targets were in. And this was a supply demand issue when it comes to oil prices, and that was before we had this conflict. So that kind of would tell me that even if you pull back a little bit here, there's still some upward pressure, and the energy names are still going to be strong, and there's still the inflation hedge that they pretty much have always been. So I'm not really sure how much we would pull back, even if we sort of step back off the brink here. It's been a strong trend, especially when you have Bullard's comments like the front loading, maybe a little more aggressive. That tends to tell me that you're going to stay strong in energy almost regardless of what comes out of this Ukraine situation. Now, obviously, any acceleration there is going to start moving that market. Like over on Friday, you saw like a $2 move like that off a single headline. So we're going to get things like that potentially on any headline. But the trend itself does seem a little bit more fundamental than that, and hasn't shown too many signs of abating right now. So you just got to stay long and strong in energy names at this point because they've been the thing that's working, and that just hasn't really shown too many signs of going the other way.
I don't want anyone, I see some chat in there, I don't want anyone calling WADA or anything. I was watching a little bit of that Icarus. So that's why.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
I'm not even halfway done yet, and I'm like, oh my God. And now I was watching the Olympics with my wife, obviously, over the weekend, and she's like, oh, I can't trust anybody. All these guys are doping. And I'm like, okay, well, here we go. So that's that. And
it's
yeah,
true.
Icarus, good one. I actually like that move. I like the fact that the guy does that race the first
Right?
year, and then he dopes up the second year.
Yeah.
But I just
It was a cool premise that the
it's
guy did.
awesome. Yeah, I think it's a great. Anyways,
Plus two, hold on a second. The actual scheme that they had for the way they cheated in Sochi was legendary. Come on, man. Like that's
not that far.
It's out of a spy movie or something. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. And now, so we talk about this Sochi stuff, and now we trust Putin somehow with this talk. So we'll see. It's funny that we talk about Icarus, and now we're talking about Putin, easing back on Ukraine. So let's see what happens here. Okay, over there at the big screen, it looks like Micron leads the way here. What a strong stock that was the last couple weeks. Let's check it out on the big board with Brendan.
Yeah, the holes in the washroom stalls were pretty crazy on that as well. We saw a week and a half, I think it has been, of strength from this one, MU. So it's been pretty impressive. Wedbush back to the upside. Goodyear Tire reported last week was positive into the weekend for GT. Neil and I were discussing the daily chart on Zoom this morning in the pre-market. It's also impressive in the opposite direction. DD very active again with a positive note. There's JP Morgan over here as well this morning. Worth noting, guys, for the banks.
Yeah, Micron.
Holes in the bathroom walls, eh?
Look, man, I'm not even.
Interesting.
Porky.
Go on, yeah.
Anyways, Micron has been super strong recently, relative strength all over the place, and we sort of talked about this on Friday when looking for things that could have some breakouts. And 2 days in a row, it's given you, 92, 92 and a half, and breaking, whether it's early in the morning or a little bit later on, into 95. And 2 days, it's giving you that move and then falling back in Thursday and Friday, a little bit deeper of a pullback. I tend to look at that 92, 92 and a half as your obvious first resistance point, but now you finally got a double top on this. And it's hard to, I love the momentum in the stock, and I'll probably try a couple times to bottom pick it. But it's hard to look at this, not doing a heck of a lot of volume now, and say, double top at 95, that's got to be resistance. If it's going any further, it's got to break out at that 95 level. And maybe it's worth looking at the daily to say, you put in that double top, maybe it's time it retests that 50-period moving average for Micron. It catches the upgrade after it's been super strong and broken out. When it hasn't gotten to the high, that kind of tells me it might struggle up there. So it's almost like allow this thing to break out again. It's given you these levels time and time again. And if it holds 88 this morning, then maybe I'll go back to the well with a 92 and a half trade a little bit later on in the morning. But until then, it just feels like that double top at 95 can be some obvious resistance there. I love the stock. And if the chips start going, Micron's one of the places I want to go into a long trade. But you saw 2 days in a row testing and failing at the exact same level after a couple of big moves on a break. A lot of times you get that consolidation or pullback after that. And you still got to be a bit tepid about this morning here with these markets.
Guy Atlax wants shout out to U.S. hockey 3-0. Okay, I don't know who you beat. I don't think it was Canada. I'm not even really following the hockey in the Olympics, to be honest. I'm not following.
Well, they already beat us. So they're not playing.
I'm not following any Olympics, really, to be honest with you. Especially the hockey. I mean, it's just. The NHL made the right move by not going there because of all the restrictions and stuff like that. I mean, they don't want to get locked down on a COVID test and then blah, blah, blah. But, to me, I really like to see the NHL, the best of the best, playing in those Olympics. I was talking about it on the weekend, how crazy would it be if it was Canada, US, but it meant something, it was the real. We're missing that. But our women are legit. Obviously, they're there, and they're going to be kicking some butt, and hopefully the men are too. And shout out to everybody watching the Olympics. I mean, that's what it's all about. Sit there. Nice to see you. Nice to watch with your family and stuff like that. But, okay, that was that. And, you talked about Micron. That's been a super strong name. NVIDIA. We always go over AMD, but... NVIDIA is another name here where I think this is the best. Oh, come on, my Q's chart. Oh, there it goes. Now it's gone. All right. NVDA again. Oh, no, I don't think I can type in anything. But I was going to talk about when we get back maybe. But NVIDIA still is the best of the best, in my opinion, when it comes to, where you want to put your money. Nothing's going to load here. As far as the chip makers. And so I always look for weakness in NVIDIA if we're going to look at something. AMD seems to be easier to trade. I know the level's a little bit better. But NVIDIA versus AMD, I think you can pick your poison. But Micron, as far as, how it's been acting, has been the best. So I would always look at Micron, and then we'll look at NVIDIA and AMD as secondaries.
Wednesday, guys, we'll get earnings from NVIDIA as well. Worth a note here, we're going to talk about Tesla as part of this, overall tech theme this morning, but they released China sales numbers this morning for January, 59,845. 7847 China-made vehicles. So remember, some of them go to Europe. So it's 33.6% increase year over year for Tesla. So not a bad looking chart here. I mean, it also kind of moved up with the overall market on the positivity from Russia. 850 though, decent level for Tesla.
Yeah, I still think the 850, which that's what we were bouncing off of on Friday, right? Like we talked about how Tesla got right there, like 851 and then bounced off. So I think that's still valid. And a lot of times you'll get these, you'll gap down to past the level in the pre-market, and then once volume comes in, you reclaim the level, and you just say to yourself, okay, well, 850 is still right there. You kind of see what this looks like on the daily chart. Previous support, it broke down. You had that 1 wick bottom on the 28th there where you snap back, and then the following day you're right back above 850. So the amount of time spent below was one afternoon and then 1 day, and then this pre-market. And that's in the last few weeks. So I still think that's the key level of support for Tesla. If you're looking to the upside where resistance might be, you can guess at 885 because that was interesting before. I think you're really, like, it's just that 950 level. Forget about the middle. 900 might be something just because it's a round number. But Tesla, relatively flat here. But that does discount the fact that we did have a regain of that 850, which is somewhat of a bullish thing. If we bounce off of this level, then you know 850 is going to be good. Would I take it for a break to the short side? I don't know. I like a few other EV names a little bit better today. Rivian's actually in the news with a Soros bid. That's on our watch list, so that's going to be there. I always like trading Lucid as well. But you have to have your eyeballs. I always have my eyeballs on Tesla if I'm looking at any other EVs. And maybe at some point I will look at Polestar. Who knows? Maybe it'll actually move.
So, like I tried to call out my charts of Tesla, and then this happened, so I'm just going to go back over to Qs. And I don't have a chart for you, but we did average into the Qs, and it just ripped up there into the, okay, here it is, so there it is, so finally, there it goes, see? I don't know, it's like you just sit there and wait, I think now is the new method. So there it is, so nice little average in on the Qs. We're still playing against that 347. We did have a high wick that got us out of this trade, so we just got right back in, so literally at the same price, so lucky that actually happened. And now we're averaging into the short. You did see the NASDAQ just run up to that 50 period, so yeah, the 50 period's moved down, but I'm still going to use 347. That's where it was when we entered the trade, so we're going to use that as our location, but it is starting to go to the upside here. The NASDAQ's starting to pop a little bit, so we'll average into that. Our average price now is 18, so we're flat. I mean, we're out 4 cents or 10 cents on the Qs, which is nothing. Looking to get something out back in here if it comes back through, and then we'll wait for that bottom flush. So let's just see what happens there. It just takes a couple, like you're just looking at Tesla. It takes a Tesla flush or Microsoft or Apple or something like that. Like, now look at these charts to get loaded. So we'll see what happens here. Where is Apple today? That's another quick look, 167. That 172 is pretty key to me. Obviously, we're well away from that right now. And I don't know. I'm just going to have to either log out or do something because absolutely nothing is loading on the chart side of things. So, Brendo, what up?
Good start. Yeah, good start. Sounds like a Monday. Cornerstone Building Brands, if you remember, CNR, a little one that went crazy last week. Little tiny float stock back to the upside again for CNR. Heads up on that. There was one other thing I was going to mention before we bring in Arun. Kraft Heinz. KHC moving around here, guys, on earnings. So they came out with just an update on their forecasts. They're expected to report as well. So as mentioned, let's bring in Arun and get his take on the overall market as we head into a brand new week. Again, going to be very macro this week. A lot of headlines going to affect the overall market. What are you looking at today, though, Arun?
Well, markets are bouncing. I guess that's a good thing for after the kind of run that we had on Friday. So we're in an interesting location right now. It's bounced off of this like 43.50, 43.60 area. I have kind of a level here from all the way down to 43.20. If you guys can see this little zone that I kind of marked off. So that's my bottom end zone. So 43.20 is what I'm looking for. So if we can get below the current low, actually no, 43.50 something is the low. As long as we can get below 43.60 and we set something up, I think longs are in play at that point. And of course, if you run to the upside, this gets a little bit trickier though. If you were to run to the upside, there's actually about 40 or 50 points in space before we hit resistance. And even then, the stop is all the way up close to 4,500. So even after you hit resistance, you still need the market to go up a little bit further to get the setup to go for the short where the risk makes sense on the trade. So we're kind of wedged right there above the support level. Actually, we're about 50 points away from the support level, and we're about 60 points away from the resistance level. and we are trading in the middle trying to figure out what to do. So in this situation, I just stay away from it. Let the market either go up or come down, and then we can figure out what we want to do on the future side of things. Obviously, when the market does something like that, because these are large moves, right? 50, 60 points is a fairly large move in these indexes, it's going to push some names. So we're going to start looking at individual names, see if we can't play those while we're waiting for the market to do something that we can work with. And of course, if you lose that 43.20, then we have nothing all the way down to 4,200. So there we are. We're wide ranges. This has been the story for this market for a while now. We have these wide ranges. A lot of times we're not able to take the trade because of the risk profile attached to these trades. And then once you get that chance, you get a few trades a week, and then it moves on to doing absolutely nothing or stuck between ranges. And here we are once again, waiting for this market either up or down. It doesn't really matter, 50 or 60 points. That's when the game really starts to set up a trade on the future side of things. Right now we're down 0.44 on the NASDAQ, 0.3 on the S&P, and we've got some space. So let's see how this market opens up. And once we get a move, everyone's looking at 11:30 or what will come out of that 11:30 emergency meeting. Some people were saying that it's a typical thing, happens on the regular. It's just getting more attention now. I'm not going to speculate on all of that. I'm just going to wait for this news to come out if it were to come out today. And then on Wednesday, you do have FOMC minutes as well. That's the next big headline that people are going to be looking at from the Fed after whatever happens with today's emergency meeting.
Good stuff. Thanks, Arun. If you're just joining us, guys, I mentioned earlier, but Miss V's flight was delayed, so Arun's back in the building today, so you can be with us for Market Movers coming up at 11, and Arun will be back on Market Movers with Trader Pratt. MGM Resorts, there was a volume spike there. IAC announcing they purchased 9 million shares of MGM Resorts. This was the cornerstone, that CNR. So they did come through with this Clayton, Dublier, and Rice. They did come through with an actual bid for this company, $24.65. That was going back 15 minutes or so ago. So CNR on the move. MGM just popped up. Looks like Lockheed just popping up as well. So lots to get to. Let's jump into this. Everything else you need to know is on the watch list, guys. Every single morning we send it out before we come on. At 8:30, absolutely free if you need that. All you need is an email address. We'll have that in the chat for you. When I sat down this morning, all of the U.S. markets anyways were significantly red, and it was tech that was leading to the downside. As soon as that headline came out on Russia, it was tech that was leading back to the upside. So regardless, these are going to be worth watching today, guys. Lots of movement here so far.
Yeah, lots of movement. And I just saw on our list, and not to skip ahead, but I just got into Peloton because Peloton just broke a key level. So it just happened. So I got to quickly come to it because it just broke this level here on Peloton 33.70. That's Friday's low. If you remember going back into last week, it topped out at this before falling back to 25. It was then a key price in the late morning, the following day, 33.70 or so. But that just broke down. The big news there is that this new CEO is essentially softening the stance on whether there could be a potential deal. And wow, I should be taking some profit in here just immediately. Once it broke that 33.70, looks like it's heading to the downside. So Peloton, we can already start to ring the register a little bit here. And keep in mind a few things, right? When everybody and their mother thought that this stock was going to be bought, and then the speculation came through, it's not that surprising that you might see the CEO say, oh, well, maybe not, and take a step back. Because even if you were super interested, you'd say that just to improve your bargaining position, right? Like you're still trying to do the best for your shareholders. I'm not saying that this is the case, and maybe they don't want to sell, right? But it wouldn't be that surprising to at least see that kind of language out of them. As it gets down to this 33 level, just going to go over, you've broken down here again below the 50 period as well. So there's a little bit of room to like 30, 31 if things were to get out of hand. I'm looking at this 30 level as, this is where it broke out going into that range. If you look on the 50, I can zoom in a little bit better so you can see this was a cluster breakout right here in the open at that 30 level. So I do think that that's a pretty solid target. But I'm going to be banking some of this. I'll probably take another layer out in front of 33 just so that I've got a little bit more than half the position on rolling into the open. There's so much time for this market to still make some moves here, but a good key level break there on Peloton.
Yeah, I didn't have the order up, but hopefully you guys did, and we'll say sticky note again, guys. Hit the alarm for that one. Look, 33.75 from Friday. I just, for some stupid reason, wasn't looking at it and looking at the cues instead. But there's that 33.75 break right there, straight to the bottom. Neil has that, so you got to look at that for Peloton. Hopefully you guys were able to, catch that off the sticky note. If it does come back up, obviously we'll play into that level as well. So watch out for Peloton bouncing around. I mean, it's still 10 cents. It is SSR, so like you can't, even when it broke there, I was trying to get short 60s, 50s, so on and so forth, just didn't let me. So you have to wait until it busts up a little bit and prints the ask. So that's how you got to get short here on Peloton. But yeah, that 33.75 was pretty awesome there, which we had that one. Bless you, but we do not. So we'll wait to see where that goes. And we also did like spit in the face of a nice winner as well on NASDAQ. So we should have taken some of that out. And look, it bounced at the exact same spot again. We had 80 cents there on the triple Qs. But now we're starting to bounce back to the upside. Maybe that gives us an opportunity to grab that short in Peloton. So we're waiting just where we should have been in the first place, the 70 area. So if it comes back up, we will look to engage in short in Peloton.
People, guys, still talking Microsoft, Apple, even Facebook, Meta moving around here as well. Thoughts on these this morning?
Obviously, that's where we did want to go in the beginning. Peloton just sort of happened. Hey, guys, we're live, right? So we're going to jump into talking about the trades, and we're not really looking to dodge any topics. Now, in the case of Meta, like that 220 level has been sort of the key for me this entire time. And you've been back and forth there pretty much all morning. We closed just around that same price on Friday. I mean, really just below it. I did try one defense, but it has yet to really make a consolidation bottom. That's the one thing I noted. When we had the short on this back last week, it got down to about like 216, and for now, that looks like your temporary bottom. 220 was your higher low. That's now been breached. I think it's setting itself up for another retest of 216. I think if it retests that, let me zoom in so you can actually see this level. There we go. Yeah, so if we retest that 216 today and can bounce off it, I think that's a good sign because you've essentially had one big bounce, failed to break out of the range. You'd be making a double bottom at that price for Meta here, and that's what they needed. Like after getting beat down on the earnings report and being under all this pressure, you're looking to see some actual support get put in and then talk about where it can start to break out from. Maybe it just breaks here in 220, but I'd rather see us actually test that 216 level, which looks pretty big. And then you start thinking about, okay, well, what happens if 216 were to break on Meta? I mean, if my chart would zoom back, there's just not going to be support. Like you might be talking about 200 because it's a round number at that particular point. So there is some room for Meta to actually fall further, but I just think it has a really good chance at that 216 to finally make that double bottom. Like you look at the daily chart, you don't really find anything solid until you start looking back at that 200 price level. That's back here in like May of 2020 or so, but otherwise it's a heck of a lot of air. So 216, that's the level I'm looking to defend on Facebook. Pretty much it for me.
Yeah, for Microsoft, just for big cap tech, I'm going to go to Microsoft again today. You can go all the way back to January, where this is their earnings day, where it was, it got clapped down and then right back to the upside there on earnings right there. So I believe they probably reported on the 25th or 26th, I think it is, this day here. So there it is, a nice move back to the upside, but that bottom was 298. And then just after that, we made a bottom right here of 293. Well, that's right, again, like I said that we would test some of these lows in the NASDAQ, which happens to be 340 if we go over to the Qs. So just watch out for softy here. We could get a bounce to 290. I think that's a spot where we can wait around, especially now as the NASDAQ is now back down. We put on the sticky note 295 that we like that for a break to the upside. But as you know, things have just changed here in a little bit. We were, cruising around that 295, and we're not far away. I mean, we'll call the imbalances in a minute, but the imbalances can sort of help these stocks flow around a little bit in the pre-market. So I don't know. I'm not concerned. We're only down 0.26. We've seen the NASDAQ down 3 and a bit on Friday at its low. And then, so let's just wait to see where this NASDAQ goes. It's not going to be hanging around a quarter point for very long, especially if we do get that Fed meeting, rate hike type talk stuff going through there. So watch out. But yeah, 290 is where we, sort of danced around earlier when the market looked like it was in trouble with Putin and Russia and oil and everything. So watch out down here, 290 for softy. We have parked a bid there. So if it comes back into 291, it'll be our first leg, and then we'll see if it can go back to the upside. But again, if the market can rally a little bit off the open, we'll get out of our Qs trade. You can see we're short the Qs with not too much room to go, 347, and we're out of that one. But if the market rallies off the open, we will look to take a 295 long here on Microsoft. I just hope it doesn't happen in the first couple minutes because I like to see the market settle down a bit here off the open.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on some of these today because they're going to be in focus at least. Let's go on to Rivian here. This was Sunday. This headline came out, George Soros investment fund taking a more than $1 billion stake in the pickup truck maker, EV pickup truck maker. But nice move up here with the overall market, 57.5 to 62 in the pre-market there for Rivian.
Well, the good thing about some of the names that have been more beaten up is unlike something like a Meta, something like a Rivian might have made a stronger bottom or at least a more convincing one. Attempting to at least. It broke down to 50. You can sort of see it put a pretty convincing break down into $50. Then you had that wick bottom. You've now held a higher low on Rivian. It's right at 55 here. Well, okay, 56, let's call it. 55, the nice round number. And suddenly you get the Soros stake. Okay, is that enough? Who knows? But you've seen it with Ackman and from time to time, and sometimes that's just the catalyst. That's what you needed out of Netflix after they got beat down. So I look at this here today and say, okay, we got that 56 level. Let's be buying dips on Rivian in front of it. I think the first stop, like this 62, 62.5, I think that could be a bit of resistance on Friday in the afternoon. That's where it slowed down. It was a previous bottom a couple of days in a row. So I feel like there's going to be some price acceptance around 62 and some consolidation. But otherwise, I think it's buying the dips. 56 is going to be your support level. If things get really frisky, I suppose you push that back to 55. But you definitely don't want to retest to 50 even. Kind of feel like if you get back to levels like that, on stocks that are more depressed, like they're more apt to just rush through them. But we've established that 50 bottom on a wick bottom already. Now it's about the lower high and then Rivian trying to break back out here. And with that catalyst, I'll be looking to buy the dip at the open. Now I was considering buying it at 59. The market started to roll over, and I only want to take the trade at 9:30, so might have to put the order back in. If we're still sitting at 60, I might be buying 58, 59. If we were to fall further, I'd pull back and make sure we're getting it closer to the open.
Yeah, we have the same thoughts. We're going to try to buy this thing near 58 bucks. It should have this bottom. George Soros coming in, making some comments. I don't really care too much that he's making the comments. It's nice to see that the people are looking at Rivian. It could have came either way. So I'll take a bid down here near 58. I think they can support that, but the bottom is still 57.50 here from Friday. So, and in the pre-market today. So just watch out. I mean, that can obviously get taken out very, very quickly. So watch out for Rivian, especially if this market crashes. But it looks like the market's holding up. We probably will get out of our Qs in a minute here as we're testing that 47. I mean, really, really close right now. There you go. Couple pennies higher than this and we'll be out. So looks like the Qs right now are going to get washed to the upside, and soon I think I should be out. I know, there it is. So there we go. So we'll get out and we'll flush ourselves down the toilet as the market goes up, which is fine. So the market going back to the upside. So that's all right. We did test a little bit of a short here on the Qs. So all is well on that one. Let's check out, not well, we lost, but small position there to test the market just in case. And then let's just have a look here on the imbalance locator. Pfizer, FCX, GM. Yeah, there's really nothing on here that's going to be concerning to me. I wasn't really looking at any of these names. Maybe CCL with a sell side there could be something. NEO, whoops, there goes my everything again. NEO was there as a sell as well. And then Ford, I guess, with a sell. But look, whenever you're sub 300,000 is the highest. That's not going to be very much interest to me there. So we'll watch. The market just started to go to the upside there. And again, to take that kind of a hit on the Qs, that's about 80 cents. That's a pretty average kind of play there because we were in the money more than a roughly 80 cents there. So we 1-to-1, we didn't take it, then we take the out. So we'll watch to see what the Qs do here at the open. But hey, so far so good on the upside. The market seems to be trying to hold some of these bottoms. So let's see if this 14,170 holds, and then hopefully we are able to take this out 14,270 at the top for the NASDAQ right off the open.
Just saw Walmart and Target moving a little bit here. Not a lot of volume, it would appear, but Cohen out with a positive note on both Walmart and Target. Some earnings coming from that group this week as well. Bitcoin, guys, back to day highs here as well. Big spike in Bitcoin on that Russian headline or positive Russian headline that happened earlier on in the pre-market that lifted the markets as well. So some individual crypto-related stocks back to positive here as well.
Okay, so the only crypto, I mean, we talked about Coinbase a little bit there. I like to look at HUD 8. I'm already invested into Coinbase and very, very small into HUD. And actually, I accidentally sold some HUD like 2 or 3 weeks ago, which was actually, turned out to be a great decision. So we'll wait to see here. But I think if you're looking at some of the altcoins and things like that, HUD 8 seems to be pretty consistent, moving around with some of those movers. So, you know, I always look to HUD to make some moves. So back down to $5. If that's a good little buy area there, we can get in and out. It was at this 10 area that I got in and out there on HUD. So that's why I was like saying I was very, very lucky on that one. But you can see down here I was going to say $9, but that's almost where we got to on Friday and Thursday. But you're making a nice little move down here on that crypto news. So I would say look out for $5 or $6 on HUD 8. So that's something that I look at as a holder of some of these coins. For me, though, I've been saying it over and over again. Honestly, it wasn't lucky because I did want to get out of Coinbase, a little bit of it. I think it's probably unlucky that I didn't sell the whole position, but we did get out of some Coinbase right here, right before earnings at 360. It's the same play I made. I went the other way on Roblox. I wwent the other way I sold my Disney before earnings. This is the couple earnings ago, and then Coinbase, I've been looking to get back in, but honestly, until we break this 220, I kind of want to leave Coinbase alone. I do think it's a good day trading stock, though, and there are some key levels. I know you mentioned that before as well, Neil.
Yeah, looking like the 96 to 200 levels. But what I didn't show, and I should probably mention, like if you're watching spot prices, like if you're trying to fade off of either one of those or play a breakout, then just have a look at Bitcoin and see what it's doing in its consolidation. Like you're holding below 43 here. Support, this is a 4-hour chart, by the way. I know I jump all over the place, but I'm watching crypto. I tend to use a longer time frame. But this 43,000 level, yeah, you want to see a break of that level if you're playing a breakout. I mean, otherwise, you're going to run into what I think is obvious resistance in both ends. So that's why I was sort of pointing out 96 and 200 in Coinbase. They're not my go-to to be able to trade today. Like I said, I mean, Rivian, I think, looks pretty interesting. We've talked about that. Peloton, we're already in it. The overall market, as Sean noted, is moving. I like AMD and the chips. He likes NVIDIA. There's so much momentum-wise, but if you are looking at crypto, we are in that channel, and that's why we wanted to point out 96 and 200 on Coinbase in the event that we can make a bit of a break. And guess what? I mean, if you had the trifecta of the NASDAQ, let's just say, that's a yes, let's just say at that same moment you're getting the NASDAQ break in 14.3, that would be fantastic as well, because we know, risk on has meant pretty much everything, like whether it's big tech, whether it's crypto, at the same time, and that would be a great sign. You get all three things going. That would also help your Coinbase trade if you're looking to trade that vehicle. I didn't really look at Mara or any of the others. It was just Coinbase because it had those two key levels.
On to SoFi, another one, guys, notably strong here in the pre-market as overall the market kind of flat, as we've been saying. But here's SoFi up 3.25%, couple of positive notes on it. Obviously, a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover maybe for this one as well today.
Oh, is that what was on the stadium? Now I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what any. I actually didn't even see any of the notes, so I don't know. I was saying that you're not going to get a Super Bowl bump, and you really didn't. I mean, over the week, it kind of ended. I mean, here's the week here. It sort of started. I mean, you got a nice little bump. What was it, in the 9th, the 10th, the 11th? So you sort of, you did get a decent bump from the bottoms of Monday down here, 1180 or so, and then now you come in today up that 2.5%. It's nice to see. I'm not clear on what those notes were, but again, it's up. The market's not, so we like SoFi here today. More aggressive than the marketplace. But again, just watch out for sellers. I feel like people that may have been playing for a Super Bowl bump, maybe they come in today and they get that 2.5%. And I'm talking about people with bigger shares, like not 1,000 shares or something that's now, 1,000 shares wouldn't be bad, actually up a couple $100 here from these bottoms. So if you bought, and I'm just thinking that people that bought here into SoFi 1250 expecting to get a little bit of a bump that maybe haven't sold yet, they wake up and it's 1270. That's just enough for me to pull the trigger to get out. So I think that SoFi does have a chance to come back here, 1220, 1230, back down to the downside. So, and again, you do have that resistance all the way back to the 8th and to the 9th of 1220. So we're going to park a bid down here on SoFi 1220, and then we could probably hold that all day. I don't think we're going to, unless it's an absolute disaster day. I mean, I don't think we get into the 1150 mark or anything down here, but we could. You're up a lot today on SoFi. It's not impossible that this thing falls back in. So let's just try to be as patient as we can with SoFi. Actually, scratch 12. I'm going to wait back down in here, 1160, 1170 for SoFi.
That's the problem with where it is right now. It's like you look at that, it's like, yeah, scratch that pull back. And I was thinking the same thing, because if you just look at the last couple of days, 13, 20, 13, 40, you're like, oh, you want to sell the news, you can sell any of those levels. But look at the 15-minute. Like, look at 1360 and how significant that is. Like, when we broke above 1360 on SoFi, it went to 1660 and back in 2 days. And then that same level, which was the bottom there, has turned into the resistance, and it's been holding for like 3 weeks now. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a fade off 1360. You can call it 1365 because I know it wicked up there. And then that's your spot. If it gets there, I think it's a fade. Like you said, you got the higher low that's all the way at $11. So that's where the support would be, and you're sitting right in the middle of it. So maybe there's some scalping to be done at the bottom, or some scalping here at 1340. But I think any real short would be at 1360. Any true breakout to retest some of these levels. You look at the daily chart. Look, any true breakout's got to get above at least that 1360 area, if not a little bit better than that. Otherwise, you're still sort of barcoding off of these previous levels. So I wouldn't consider it a Super Bowl bump. A couple of points is okay, but the way this stock has moved, that's not a heck of a lot.
I was, before we go back to Brennan there, I don't know. We're talking about Super Bowl. I don't know, man. I mean, I think the performance was fine at the halftime, but like honestly, I was just like, okay, I even said to my kids, all right, they're just getting started here. Here we go. Like, here it comes. All 5 of them on the top of whatever that house was there. And I was like, here we go. Like, time to get going. And then it was like, end.
Well, they can't go on forever.
There was 8 songs.
They can't go on forever.
But Kendrick, 1 song. Eminem, 1 song. Like, what?
They had me at the piano riff,
like,
crying mad at you, and the ode to Tupac. Like, that was it for me.
California Love?
No. When Dre came on, came on the keys,
yeah, but again,
and
he was
played
on
the
the
riff.
keys for like 5 seconds.
I know, but like that's I love that song, by the way. But that was my jam right there. I get it, but it's not a concert. I know a lot of people were looking more forward to that than the
stop
game.
hyping that up.
But it's not a full concert.
Like Pepsi.
If they were to do that, by the way, you'd sell it everywhere.
I'd sell my Pepsi shares. I was disappointed with that, honestly. I thought the performance was
You got to sell your shares, bro.
I'm selling shares. If I own Pepsi, I'm selling shares. I
own Pepsi shares.
I know. I wouldn't.
Actually, I might be selling Pepsi shares.
Exactly.
But that's because of where the stock is. It has nothing to do with it.
It's just you had all that talent up there, and honestly, that was one of. And I said to Marissa, how could this be like one of the best Super Bowl halftimes of all time, and yet again one of the most disappointing Super Bowl halftime shows of all time? So I don't know if you guys agree with me, but yeah, it was good, but it just left you for wanting more, and I just felt like, man, that was disappointing. But anyways, I don't know what Brendan's opinion was. What was your opinion?
I actually had the very same opinion. It seemed like they tried to fit maybe a little too much into the allotted time, and therefore some people got not enough time overall. I totally agree. AFRM, a few people talking about a firm here. This was one that was one of the worst off on Friday, back to the downside. We're opening, guys, down here below that last low on the daily chart, but trying to hold 44.50 here, down 3.5 for firm as well.
And the difference between a firm and Peloton, well, obviously Peloton had the catalyst as well, but it broke that 33.70 level. If a firm had been above in the pre-market and taking out this 45, like I'd have shorted this one too, but you gap down below that price, you gap down below the 45 level, and to me, I don't know that I see the trade there until it maybe retests it. So you're at all-time lows at this point, so I think if it pops back up, it's almost like you're giving it to the previous bottom was 47, right? So before Friday, 47 was that low. So I think as long as it's below that, it's still a short. Meaning this could pop $1.50, and I'd be looking to fade off of 47. And I wouldn't be giving it up until it broke that level. And even if it did, I'd probably be trying again at 50 even. So I think those are the two things I'd go to. It just kind of stinks that you're not going to get a chance to. Like, I really thought we'd come in this morning all weekend. It's like, oh, we'll see 45 on the bid and get the trade off that level. Not going to end up happening. We're already at 45. It's already gone back and forth through that price. So it's 47, and then it's up at 50. And it would have to be a 50 break before I think this is actually a long. I think that would be a pretty significant bounce if it can do that.
Speaking about 50, that was awesome when Fitty came down out of going, upside down. Man, I don't know if he looked ripped or I don't know if all these guys are doing the Bezos pump up or what, but like when 50 came down through upside down, I was like, oh man, this is enough, man. And then all my kids were like, who is this guy? I'm like, that guy got shot in the face. Like, you don't even know who these guys are. But that just goes.
You look different. That's all I'm saying.
And by the way, I think there's more people agreeing that it was a little disappointing halftime show, but it's not that it was disappointing. It's just like you can't come come out and say this is going to be the greatest halftime show of all time, and then that's what you produce. Like, you're not stepping to MJ, you're not stepping to Prince and some of these other guys, not with that
I'm glad you said that, because my all-time favorite was the Prince one.
Yeah,
I said
so,
it.
like, let's
I said
just-
it. The Prince. No, but this would have made my top 5 personally. But then I was just so psyched at the Tupac, like,
Yeah.
I'm mad at
50.
you, get on there. He should have played the whole song, but what are you going to do?
The thing is, with inflation, he should have been called 60 cents, right, Brendan? Over to the big screen.
Not sure that's enough.
There we go. Someone needs to do that math for sure. TCBP, little one this morning. Another one of these teeny tiny IPOs from last week. It was 4.7 million shares. So it was like 17 million in notional that debuted straight down on Friday. 270 is this level from going back to Friday. So above that, who knows? Below that, though, there should be some support down here in front of $2, guys, for TCBP.
We're not sponsored, but like this pan, this Our Place pan is like the best pan of all time. So just got to give a big shout out to their Our Place there with the pan coming through. It has nothing to do with Valentine. My wife, I can't talk about Valentine's Day because my wife watches the show, so we have to ease back on that. But hey, I'll message you. We just got the pan, so it just came in. So
We're
okay.
Valentine's haters well, not haters, but we're just like fake holiday, pure consumerism. So my wife and I are just like, nah, we don't love it. We do little things. My daughter's all over it, but for us, not too much. The TCBP, Brennan already mentioned it. I just got locates on it, but be very careful. I do have an order for a break at the top just because that's what these things have been doing, these IPOs that on day 2 when there's like no shares available, they start to break out. But it has been weak, so I think it might be good for a 930 pop and fade. But if it breaks out, sorry, I shouldn't say 270. That's 275. Go back to Friday and look at that 275 level. That's where I would break it out. I think it's worth a short, at least in front of the current high, the pre-market high. But from there, I'm looking to take a 75 break to the upside just to see if it does one of those halt runs.
This is going to be a problem today's show because now I forgot about Dre in my mind, and it's just like I can't stop thinking. Yeah, like
they got something to say. Them comes out when they move the lift, just a bunch of gibberish, and I can't say,
act like they forgot about Dre. I mean, all those.
Come on, man. How could you hate it? But anyways, don't even get me started.
I'm saying I got it in my head.
It was so
now.
good. But anyway.
Yeah, that's right. It was the best halftime show yet, the most disappointing. I mean, I can't say it any more than that.
I still say Prince was.
Oh yeah. But yeah, for sure. I'm just saying like how. Anyways, I've already ranted on that one, but hey, we love those guys. I love all those guys. Mary J, everybody.
And we're gonna try.
Even Kendrick. Like, come on, Kendrick could have done way better. He has so much talent, and they could have given him more time. Okay, let's go. Peloton right now. We're back. We're not back in it. We're finally in it. And I know you got a little bit out there. We do like Peloton to the short side. So, kind of a gift horse right now, coming back up, filling us now in the 60s. So we're short. Peloton 65 on a move back up. So we'll wait to see what Peloton does here off the open, maybe 35 and change. Anytime you see me in a trade, I'll have at most like 20 to 30% in the pre-market of the position that we actually want. So, hey, if it goes down, great. But I am going to hold out for these bottoms of 33, at least for a piece, and then see if it comes back down into the downside for that trade. Looks like the Qs have come back in. What a surprise to where we'd be flat now on the trade, but we got out of that one early. We'll check the imbalances in a couple. No, actually, they're out already for NASDAQ, so let's check those out. I keep thinking it's 928, but it's 25. So, all right, Pfizer, they changed the rules on that. It seems they probably changed them 5 years ago, but I always feel like they just changed them. Zila, Neo, the Qs is on here as well. Where was the Qs? I thought I saw them on there, but anyways, lots of things changing right now with only 2 minutes to go. The bottom line is, if you're looking at the imbalance locator this morning, there's really nothing on here that should scare anybody out of any trade. Even 400,000 on SNDL. Come on, that thing does 100 million shares. So there's really nothing going on here. Maybe Neo to the short side as a trade, looking at that. But yeah, I'm going to close the imbalance locator. But here we go. We showed it to you, and unfortunately, it's a nothing burger.
Yeah, and just quickly, we mentioned AMD. I don't know if we actually showed it. So AMD making a nice power move to the upside, up 2%. This was super weak, and I said it was bouncing off the 200 period. Oh, that's not going back to show it, but that was right at 111, bouncing off its 200 period. And There was one stop here, 118. That was that previous low on the week, 118, 118.50. I think that's going to be the first area of resistance on an AMD. It's in the middle of the range, and I don't like things in the middle of the range. It's got to be off 111 if you're looking to defend a level, or 118 up at the top there. We talked a little bit about Rivian as well being a bit of a play. I like this one. Now let's pump back up above 60. I'm probably going to sit on the bid here in front of that 59 level. I said I'd wait till closer to the open to determine we can get into it, and you're probably going to see me in and out of a BDSI. That is a cash buyout deal, $5.60. I don't expect a lot of volatility. I expect a lot of spread trading.
All right, good. So that's BDSI. So if you see that come through, that's that. You'll probably see Prad trading that as well. Okay, so Peloton just back up. We are looking for Softy to break upside. It looks like things are starting to fade back in a little bit. So we have 295 on Softy. We didn't talk about AMC yet, but AMC, I really like it down near 18, man. If we can get anything down near this 18 low, then we're going to be on this. So we actually have some bids out on AMC, some Qs. Actually, I got to cancel that Qs bid. Peloton, Microsoft, Ford as well, with only 10 seconds to go right now. Who's on the bell again today?
Tim
again. Wow, look at this guy, man. We got to find some new talent.
Bell, bro.
3,
2, and 1. Ring it. Let's get it.
Get it, girl. Okay, let's go now. Starting to go to the upside here. Is the market a little bit off the open, but no fear. We don't have any positions. We just have a short on Peloton that we're waiting to open up a little bit here.
Yeah, Peloton's still at that 34 level. Oh, I did want to have a quick look at Splunk, but actually pull back in pretty heavily here. Back down through 120. Remember the speculation that they might be bought by Cisco. I look at 118 in support. I didn't think that was going to come into play. 125 still the big level for resistance on the daily on Splunk. Just wanted to make sure we mentioned that. TCBP, that was that small micro whatever IPO that did make a run up to 270 here. 75 is where I like to break out long, but I will try it short side in front of 70 and the pre-market highs before I look at that breakout at 275.
We're going to small average in on Peloton just because it's up here at 34, so we just took that trade right now. We were waiting for higher, and then it fell through, but now it's starting to rip upside. So we're going to have to watch out. We're going to take a bigger position up here near $35 on Peloton, but you can see the market is absolutely rip city. So there it is. We do get punched in now to Microsoft. This is a dangerous spot because we're basically high into this rip right now, so that's not great. We would like to have a little bit of a better average price down here at 292.50 or something. So now we have to let this sort of go a little bit. We have to let Microsoft go. We're in this a little too early. We identify that. So now if we can get something back here near 295 or so, we're going to have to try to defend that area. So let's wait on Softy. We understand that we're in this early. It's a starting position here, starter position for Microsoft.
Yeah, and also one name that I wanted to look at, we talked about AMD. We did not talk too much about Micron. I did mention 95, double top on Micron. That's an area of concern. You're already seeing it with the market trying to bounce. It's already starting to pull back in. So seems like Micron might be running out of that steam that we anticipated at that first level at 92. This could be the sell day for Micron here. And now that we put in a top range, 92.5, I'll look to fade off of that. I did get TCBP. I will stop out at 270. I will go long only if it breaks 278.
All right, so you can see what's happening right now. The market is completely falling down here. So that's why we now wait to look to get a little shorter here a little longer in Microsoft as our Peloton short is just doing nothing right now. But Microsoft, as you can see, fading back in. We do have a bid now. This is where we're going to start to get a little more serious with this stock. We are going to dump it. If it breaks through 292-ish, but 293 coming in. We are bidding down here 293 right at the 50 period. Maybe we could take advantage of some of these dumps. But again, the NASDAQ is bouncing again, trying to take out this 50 period here. So yeah, Microsoft coming back in. Maybe we get one of these little dump offs again, and allowing us to take a little bit of a long through here, because I don't want to be long right now. Look at the NASDAQ completely falling down. So we did get into that early Microsoft position. So that's why it's like Massage City. So there's the bid. We just get that bid here. And if we dump below this 292.50, then we're going to have to get out of this trade. We're not holding this one all the way to the grave today. So watch out for Softy coming back in.
Yeah, and we got reversed into that TCBP, so long at 76.5 or so. Just scalps them out in front of 80. He'll take a couple of legs out in front of $3, I should say, on the way up. I think if it breaks 3, it's a chance to halt. Just because the volatility is so crazy. So we're going to ring some Reggie. But remember, we took the short initially, and we said we stop out 70, go long 75. It only has to move about 30 pennies too quickly for it to be in that halt state. And the only other thing we have is Peloton. So it tests higher. Once it made that move and showed its hand at 34.20, I mean, I would have given it to like 35 for a roll trade. Now I think you can put that in play at 34.20. So Peloton has given us a range to get into. Rivian hasn't really. I was on a bid in front of 59. Oh, yeah, looks like we're still testing that 60 level. Forget about 59 even. So Rivian, we're going to let this one settle down a bit here. I'm actually going to go ahead and cancel that bid because you look at that pre-market 59.5. I feel the way that market did a bit of a fake out, you want to be patient catching any bids. So just Peloton short TCBP to the long side.
Okay, so yeah, Peloton. So we did, unfortunately, again, we put the wrong price on Softy and got out and had to get right back in. So if you're seeing my price, it is better, but it's still bad. As Microsoft falling back down right now. So just watch out, again, for this kind of a trade. We're waiting for 292.50. If that breaks, it's gone. Because look at the NASDAQ again. The NASDAQ is starting to now retrace higher. And it looks like we're on the wrong name here because Microsoft is not retracing higher at all. So we're going to have to watch out for that one, as right now Microsoft just failing on the downside.
Yeah, look at Facebook too. So
is that at 16 yet?
No, Facebook, yeah, well, it's halfway to 16. So we talked about 216 being the level that we liked on Facebook. We're getting pretty close to retesting that level. I mean, the market, overall, the market's still bouncing in the middle of a range here on the NASDAQ. Like, we're just going back and forth 50 points or so. So I don't want to be jumping the gun on anything. I feel like Peloton maybe makes that test higher, and then that's the thing that we're going to be focusing in here. But, you know, I'm not rushing into AMD. I'm not rushing into Rivian. We definitely have the level established on Facebook. I just think it has to get there. Peloton now making its run at the high. If it takes out 35, then I'd give up on it, but it still has a chance to curl off that price.
Yeah, okay, we just hit a home run right there. So it's unfortunate that we did get out a little bit there as we put the gates of hell on Microsoft on a keystroke here, but we got right back in. So it is, unfortunately, it's going to show us flat on the stock, but we should technically be up. But that was a bad take. But these are good ones right now as the market's starting to rally to the high side right now. And yeah, we do have Softy. I put an offer there, 294.45. It looks like we just got missed there. We went as high as 45. So hopefully it comes back in and we'll take another. Here it comes. Let's go Softy. Is it going to fill us at 45? Now, who knows? This is wild, this name, though. Let's put an offer at 30 and then cancel the 45. What's up, Brandon?
Gold stock showing some strength here early on. Once again, we had that huge move on Friday late in the day for some gold names. It's just the ETF, obviously, but huge move up for Friday. Just took out that high on volume for GLD.
Strong move for gold, and Affirm, by the way, screaming on that breakout. So, I mean, it broke out at 45.50. That was Friday's low, but it still hasn't gotten through 47. Like I said, 47 the previous low, $50 at even price, where I think it's a much bigger breakout. And obviously, you're getting off the bottom here, and there's a lot of room to run. It's taking one turn off 47. I'm going to take my first shot at this. I'd probably look at 50 even as the next leg. I'm kicking myself over not getting into Rivian, but we tried to play a particular plan there and might have just missed out on that one a little bit there. Rivian going absolutely nuts and trying to break out its top. So as I try to get Affirm, this is what I mean on Rivian here. It just made a bounce off of 60. Looks like it's headed towards a 62 top, and that puts in play, you know, that 62 level that we also said. I would have liked that dip, but here's 62.25. Friday consolidation in the afternoon or at lunchtime or so, and then you have a pre-market high. So Rivian trying to make a breakout at 62.25. Just missed Affirm there. You got to be kidding me. I was sitting on the offer and you saw it run away.
Yeah, we're able, okay, here goes the Microsoft. I was going to say, here goes the market again right now. So we are into a new position here. It's called SoFi. Let's see where we want to go with this one, as SoFi right now trying to go higher right now. SoFi to the upside, we'll see. We're long at 35 right now, so not sure where we're going to go with this one, but a name that we like regardless here, SoFi, going again as my shoes have come undone, so we'll have to check those out afterwards. Yeah, just watching out for this 12 bottom on SoFi. We talked about that, man, and I said, like, people are going to come in today, and I didn't mean to throw like cold water on this trade. It's just I thought, like, when we were up that high today, 2.5% for no reason. Brendan mentioned some story, but I didn't know what it was. And then, so now it comes right back in an area of concern right now. SoFi, $12. Let's see if it can hold that. Hopefully it does. And then we'll just move on from there. So that's SoFi right now making some moves back to the upside. And then there goes $1 in the money right now for Microsoft. So hopefully that can go back up to that 295 area. And then Peloton, just kind of dancing around. We are waiting up here a little higher than that, near that 35 mark, to see if we can get a long here in Peloton. So, or sorry, a better short in Peloton up near 35. So, yep, here we go. Market just dancing here, still high, up 0.13. I got to find my way into Ford and AMC.
Yeah, it just got a firm final. It looks like we got that 46.73, just under 75. Made another retest to the top. I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit better. It did pull back to 46 quarters there and then try to make another run at 47 even. I do think that means I should be taking some out in front of those quarters. But as the market tries to break the top, I'll give it one shot. If we don't break 14.3, I think we're looking at below 46 here on a firm. We don't want to get out of this too early. Rivian barely missed breaking the 62.25, went to 62.23. I'm looking for the break at 62.25. Brendo?
Big mover on Friday, guys. Goodyear Tire we saw on the upgrade side of things this morning. I remember it did this on Friday off of earnings. Huge move down, trying to bounce a little bit of volume anyways for GT.
All right. Yeah, I'll test Rivian through 62. I put it down there. I didn't even realize it went up there. So we are going to try to take that long now on Rivian through 62. Let's just see if it can come out for us. I mean, it's right up here. I mean, the top is this 62.20. So we can probably look at that maybe as a little bit of a better high there. So, but we'll take a 62 break, and then if it does fail back in down here around 60. 61.50 or so. It's just bouncing right now, so we're gonna have to wait for this one. That's gonna be Rivian for sure. I like that 62 break on the George Soros news. So I'd be long already, but thank God I'm not, because I missed that trade. We wanted it to settle down and then have a look at 62. So really, it's 62.20, but we were looking at 62 before, so let's try it one more time. Okay, so that's that one. Peloton's getting spicy again, back up to the upside. We might as well short it, but I am waiting just to make sure here that I have it. Yeah, 34.70. So we were almost short there. It only went to 60. We'll give this one a little bit more room to the upside here before we take on more of a short. And then other than that, man, it's just kind of like all systems flat right now. Microsoft, SoFi not doing anything, and Peloton, we got to find some new names.
Yeah, and TCBP, it got as high as 296. Like I said, I wanted to hold some of that for a 3 break. It never happened. It came right back to that 65 where we initially shorted, so I got out of the trade. So we take the short, lose, take the long, and then overall it was a win on the long, but we're not back to positive because we did have an initial short. That's a wick top as far as I'm concerned. So you got a now level at $3, and this is just a short if it tries to pop. Rivian, obviously that just made the break, so you're going to see that one pop in for me at that 62.25. We're just going to play those, I guess, sort of obvious levels there. 50, 75, 63 even. Rivian on the breakout on the Soros things that we just mentioned. I think the one that's getting spicy here obviously is going to be Peloton, but 35 is a hard stop for me. And Affirm, as the market made that push to the upside, we did take that quarter out. I would look to rinse and repeat if we retest 47 again, and if 47 breaks, looking upside to that 50 level, which could be in play for us there. We talked a little bit about Coinbase, just going to quickly show you. It did make the break, so it breaks at 96, goes right up to 200, where it's put its first reverse, and I said I was unlikely to trade it, but guess what? That would have worked. You had the $4 into the 200, and then a pullback, so you could have worked it long or short, whichever one you preferred. 96 on the long break, 200 on the short. Either one would have given you some levels. Just keep an eye on spot prices because they are holding the range for now.
All right, yeah, so we did hit Rivian pretty fast there. Long 62.03, like we said. Out, we're already out of half. So first half out 25 at the high of the day, that's 25 cents. And the next half out right here at 47 as well. So that's going to be a good one for us right here as we start to go to the long side on Rivian. Watch out, nice move here. $1 now in the money on Microsoft as well. 80 cents in the money on Rivian. And there goes Microsoft just trying to, I'm going to put an offer here. If we can get a 295, we'll take a piece out for that. If we can get it, SoFi's starting to go as well. So everything is good except right now for Peloton, which is getting close for us to get into another short. I might as well just take it right here. I'm thinking instead of waiting for 70. I mean, what really is the difference at this point? We'll take a little bit more here at 52 if we can get it. And then I will cancel my 70, or at least go down a little bit here on share size for that play. Yeah, just things moving around. Rivian, if we take out, I want to hold this one all day if we can here on some decent news. We've already passed through 60 today. We'll see if it, well, not today, but that was in the pre-market. We'll see if it can hold up higher there, and that's going to be one that we hold on to. Rivian, and then SoFi, we're still waiting for it to do something off there. And then I said I'd look at AMC, but I mean, was it broke through 19 yet? No. It's kind of just doing nothing. I mean, it went up and down through 19, hovered around there. Now we're starting to test some bottoms. So we are down here on AMC. It's just got to go a little lower for me.
Yeah, we'll do a backflip for Rivian, which continues to make a press. I got an offer in front of 63. I did just get into Micron. So we talked about Micron getting that double top at 95, being super strong. Well, it put that curl trade on at the open. And once it did that, I said, okay, we'll play off of that 92 and a quarter area for a bit of resistance. So if it takes that out, I'd look back to 95 as a resistance point. A firm is going to be a tale of two cities, a tale of two stories. We got in on 47, in front of 47. We get the 50-cent win, scalps them off when the market looked like it was going to break, and then we took out 47 to the upside. So we're going to maintain our out. If it pushes to 50, look, I just like Rivian on a break more than I like a firm. That could be dead wrong. We'll see. Time will tell on that one. But 50 is the next obvious price point where I think that can be faded. So Micron, we're in. We talked about that. Rivian's still trying to break 63 even. If I'm trading Rivian, I promise you I'd look at what Tesla was doing. Still bouncing. So you like the long. It's still bouncing off of that 850 level and finding support there. If that were to be breached, and we're still in Rivian, that would be a cause for concern. But you're seeing Tesla hold strong above 850, which is a good sign for those longs. Brendan?
You mentioned that BDSI, Neil. This is the other side of that deal. So COLL ripping right now, right through to 21, which it hasn't been near really in months and months. So big move here for COLL on that BDSI acquisition.
COLL. Okay, so we'll watch out for that one as it's going through here. We also have, Peloton's come back in a little bit. We didn't ring the register, unfortunately, and obviously we should have there on Softy when that one went right up to the upside. But our Peloton reload is doing a little bit better. Microsoft's just bounced off some of those bottoms, so we'll look to see if we can get more in. Rivian just shoots all the way up, man. We take that out. Now we have no more outs for Rivian until hopefully next stop higher than where we are right now as Rivian trying to take out to 63. There it goes. A nice little dollar for us in the money on Rivian at least. We should took the dollar on Softy. SoFi still doing absolutely nothing. And then Ford, I'm kind of just waiting for Ford to come back in even more than this, but I don't know if it's going to. Like I was trying to get something long here in the 30s for Ford, so the market not really helping out that play, so we're gonna have to wait for Ford to do something there. So right now, Rivian, again, a dollar in the money, Microsoft bouncing around, although now Microsoft's really getting serious to the downside here. Look at the future starting to crack lower, so watch out here, Softy and so on and so forth, starting to make some moves here.
Yeah, that's why you gotta try to be taking some profit on the way upside of these long plays. It just makes a ton of sense to me. We're looking at 118 on AMD. I just pulled up here. That just put a wick high into 117.50, so it does go into resistance and pull back. Like I said, now that we've taken scalps them out on Rivian, I don't mind holding for the rest of those shares on the break. But AMD goes right into that 118. That looks like obvious resistance. Might be a fade there. As the market pulls back off 14.3. Guess we can't get through it. Brendo.
Big mover both Thursday and Friday from last week. Datadog off of earnings, just popping back up here. It did try to get back above 167, which was this area from the pre-market. Big move down with the market on Friday, but remember, good report for them back on Thursday for Datadog.
All right.
I just want to check back in just so you guys can see what Peloton's doing. Like, this is that area that we're playing off of. So inside of this range, you don't really want to be doing too much. Like the 33.7 was your momentum break. We scalps them out. It then tries that curl reload off of this level here. So as long as we're going to hold that tight range, this is my stop anyways, above that 35, the afternoon high. Sort of seems relatively obvious. And then the gap fill on this would be tremendous. And if the market starts to roll over, this is what you're looking for. Down 34 all the way into 30. So there's a pretty large range to be able to capture here. That's why you might see me hold on to this one a little bit longer than we might usually. Sometimes we're scalping trades, and other times there's a bigger setup going on. Facebook, which we mentioned at 216, still hasn't retested that level. So one of the things holding the market up or looking relatively strong would be Facebook holding that 216, actually holding a higher low off of 218, and then poised to continue to try and test that 220. Now, I'm only buying in front of 216. That's a support level I like. I think it really needs to show a buy down at that price before we get too frisky with it. And you already mentioned SoFi there. I wanted to go back to Splunk if I could. I haven't made a trade in Splunk, but it's worth noting. It immediately retook that 125. The rumor here is that Cisco could be buying for $20 billion. I don't think I've seen anything official in that regard, but this is what it looks like on the daily. That's the 125 level. It's trying to break out above that price. So ear to the ground for news on Splunk, but it is starting to sell off on that speculation.
Okay, so good call there. Yeah, I mean, and that's what you got to do whenever you see some of these like reports coming through, right? Like, what is happening? Is it a serious buy or is it not? Obviously, so we will check out what's going on with Splunk there as we go. So watch out for that. All right, now moving on. Peloton, nicely done, into the money now for Peloton. We'll see where we go for this one. We just took a piece out at VWAP there. I know Neil talked a little bit about this, but we're just short right now, right here, right now. So that's what we're going to look for on Peloton here into the short. So that's just a little bit level. Nothing too concerned here, but if it can come back in, we are looking for it to take out the 50 period and then move lower. So here goes Softy, right back up. Let's just take, I mean, I know this is not, you know, the ultimate spot to take a piece out, but I'm going to do it anyways as it comes all the way back up. We could have reloaded down there. We were pretty nervous, but you can see the futures now starting to make a move back to the upside here. So good move so far. So Softy, happy with that one. Now $1 in the money there. Rivian, still $1 in the money. That's a good one. There goes SoFi. Maybe, oh, there goes Microsoft, first of all. So now we're really starting to go as we're starting to take out the highs of the day right here in the market. So Softy back up. Damn it, darn it. Maybe we will take a piece out, but I still think we take this out and go higher. Like, what about a 296.50 area here for Microsoft? So we will wait out for that one as that is going, man. Mr. Softy on the radar one more time here. So let's see if it continues to move to the upside. And then let's just take a piece out on SoFi. Yes, SoFi right back up to the 50 period. So yeah, we smoking one here for that stock.
And one that's getting smoked is Moderna, just watching ridiculous weakness here. Just bounced off 150. That's a $7 drop right here at the open. Look at that key level break here, 156, 157. It's any pop. This is a chance to get in. So I'm not going to ignore it just because it dropped $7. If we get anywhere near this cluster, 53, 54, I'm going to work into a Moderna short. As you've seen, the vaccine names get absolutely taken to the woodshed. I don't have, like, I'm with you. I don't have an out on Rivian, but Brendan's got a name for us here.
A couple of them, actually. ASTR, if you remember, was the one with the big news as far as space stocks are concerned last week. Down 3%, not really doing much. But space itself, guys, having a nice little bounce here off of 8. So huge volume came in, lifted this back above 850, which was that level from Friday for Virgin Galactic.
All right, all right. Yeah, just looking at some of my positions here. Okay. Yeah, so SoFi out at 51. That's a good trade right there. So hit the siren for that. We are long SoFi, of course, at 35, out 51. Good trade there. Microsoft is now $2 in the money and still going. So yes, sir. We go. We'll do. You know, we haven't done yet today. Bang! There it is. We'll go bang. Congratulations to the LA Rams. Congratulations on bettors of the plus 4.5 as well. That was a good one. There goes Microsoft to the upside, a nice little move. Rivian, $1.50 in the money. Microsoft, $2 in the money. SoFi, 20 cents in the money. And we are cruising right now as a lot of these names starting to bump right now. So far, so good. Yes, Rivian. Go, Rivian. And guys, like, if you don't have, like, check out some of these sticky notes right here. Rivian, we have that breakthrough 62. That's what we liked. We liked the Microsoft at 295. Gave us another benefit there as that is well in the money right here. AMC, Ford, and then Peloton. So the sticky note again today, if you took one trade on there, 2 trades, you're fine. We haven't got into AMC yet off those levels, and then Peloton really isn't doing a whole hell of a lot. We did talk about wanting the short up here, but so far that hasn't come through. So we'll wait for a Peloton short to come in. I still think it does, considering the market is like rocking right now.
Yeah, it just has to withhold.
Yeah, it just has to come back down in. So Rivian, though, that's the big one, man. If you had that, we have 62 long pegged for you on the sticky note. So that's an awesome trade. We're now $2 in the money on Rivian. But again, it's getting to a level where we may just want to cash this Rivian out. But a nice move to the upside, now 9% in the money. We'll see if it takes out this 66 level. So far, so good here. Next stop, like I said, wow, Softy, still going, man. 296.50. Let's put an offer right there. $1 more. We'll take a $3 winner on this name.
Yeah, I just put a request in, pay for shorts on Lucid, which is making, look, Rivian's going, Lucid's also making a breakout as well. We just like some levels on Lucid. We've talked about them before. We're getting really close, really fast. 28 to 28.50 has been a pretty big level. You can look at just on Friday, those were the tops. I'm looking for a rollover. I understand, you know, we're long in Rivian, which has the news here, but I don't mind playing the other direction. You're deep in the money on one. I think you look for resistance up here at that 28 level and a bit of a curl. As that's happening, remember we just talked about Moderna making a push right back to the upside. Well, I'm looking to get in about 153, 154, somewhere in this range. The previous bottom, 150, well, the initial bottom on the push down, 154.50. If it tries to make it curl anywhere close to that, that's what I try to short. Looks like it might not even get that far, but a crazy. 65 now in play on Rivian here, and you're going to see me in the short in Lucid. Basically, oh, there we go. Just got Lucid short 27.84 in front of that 28 area. So one up, one down, but 65 is a pretty crazy level on Rivian. That's actually coming a lot faster than we anticipated. Again, it's a pretty clean break at this level we're talking about, but there's nothing until like 65.5, 66, I would think is a bigger resistance point on Rivian than just 65 even. So I do want to be holding on to this.
Yeah, that's great. I can't believe that's a great trade there for Rivian. I mean, maybe 65 is going to be the high there, but we're going to hold on to it just a little bit more. $2 in the money as well on Softy. We know that one can go. Ford trying to go. Check back in on AMC quickly here for you guys. Where are we on this one? Still, okay. Oh, wow. Wow, it goes right down to the bottom. And again, I just got to have this up and watch it. You know, we're sitting at 18.26, man. It went to 18.40 and now up 50 cents on that move. So, wow, that's a mistake for sure, no matter which way you look at that one here for our boy AMC, as that's making a move to the downside. So, definitely should have looked at that a little bit closer, and we didn't. So, mistake there on AMC, and we'll just move on from that one. Peloton, yeah, still going back up to the high side here. So, we'll watch out. I mean, I'm not super nervous about this name. I'd like the short, but again, we do have the buyout rumors still coming through. And I know they threw some cold water on that, I guess, but you know, it's still, it did have some high spots up here, 38, 39. I still like this one, especially if we get it 35. I mean, it's coming upside big time right now. So this is the only stock that we have, obviously, that we're sitting in here worried about, but Peloton continuing to make moves, 35.30. We'll probably be wrong at this at 36. So let's average in a little bit more, but Peloton definitely ruining all my longs right here.
Yeah, like that one breaks 35. I'm out of it on that break. I'm not going to be holding on to Peloton through there. Like I said, I got Lucid in just in front of 28 even. We did ring the register on a bit of a scalp trade. Now, keep in mind, remember, we're holding on to the Rivian long, and one of the things that was a bit of a proxy was, okay, well, Lucid is coming into some key levels for the short side of the trade. So you get a pullback. Yeah, you give up some of the Rivian on long, but then you make some of that by getting the Lucid short. And yeah, fine, I'm going to be holding on to these that are opposing. I just like the break on Peloton, sorry, not Peloton, on Rivian to maybe extend a little bit further. I didn't anticipate Lucid making this move. It got to a level we liked. Moderna, like I said, I wanted to short the pop, but I gave you the entry that I wanted. It obviously didn't come anywhere near that. It got to 153 and now breaking the lows. You've broken 150. Moderna is falling. Man, it doesn't even have a bottom. If you go back to last week, I'm looking at 147.50. That was the bottom in last week's action. Maybe it makes another bounce there, but I got to find a way to enter this trade before it gets too far away.
Moderna, huh? Okay, so Microsoft at 296. We were just waiting for 296.50. It looks like that was a mistake, so we'll put another offer. Well, we'll put one offer. We don't even have one out for that price. So let's go back up here to 296 on Microsoft, and if it bounces around there one more time, then unfortunately we will get out of a piece, and then we'll see if we can hold the rest for a hero. But again, we're almost out of it all, which is going to allow us to reload again. Microsoft, my number one stock here. Well, Rivian's my number one stock here today, and SoFi, another out there on SoFi, by the way, comes right up to these pre-market bottoms, and we take a piece out there at 64, I believe it was, there on SoFi. So a nice little bottom move. We talked about getting long near the bottom, and we did that for SoFi. So we're out of 2/3 of this trade, as that looking like it's going to be a good play for us there. Rivian still that $1.50 in the money. And then look at Peloton. Peloton coming back down now. So good. We did short it at 80 or 75. We took a piece out just now at 58. Here it comes back down in. So here comes Peloton, starting to crash a little bit. So this is good for us, obviously, if we've reloaded the short. We have all of these out. So far, we're not in the money on Peloton. This needs to fall down just a little bit more, not too much more than this. We are in the 30s for a bid, and then we're in the 20s, but maybe we shouldn't be in the 20s, but we'll wait for that, see if that comes through. We're in the 30s for a bid, and then we're in the 20s, and then hopefully we can crack below 34 and then retest some of these levels. 33.60 and change here. There it is. I'm at 36 on Peloton, probably on ARCA. We'll see if that fills. Oh, there we got a bid there, so good. Maybe we're at 37. Fill there on Peloton. Now let's see if it goes to the downside even more. So right now, 8 cents in the money on this, $1.40 in the money on Microsoft, $1.80 in the money on Rivian, 18 cents in the money on SoFi. Nothing out of the money right now, guys.
Yeah, and but that TCBP, that's the one, the recent IPO that basically has no float. We did go both directions in this play and then said, it looks like a short to me. It just bounced back above VWAP. So any retest up towards 3 even, I want to be fading off of $3. If it wants to break 3, fair enough. We'll go ahead and make that play. There's Moderna, that 147 from last week. That's how quickly we just got there. I mean, it's an absolute flash. Moderna is just, like I said, I need to find a way to be able to get into this to the short side. I think if it makes a bounce off 47, that's going to be the play. That was the only level I could come up with very quickly because it just fell right into last week's bottom. And then if it gets to like 151 was the higher low that got put in, so 151, 152, that would probably be the play for me to try to join this trade. I think it's a little bit too late, but hey, it's such a strong trend to the downside. We want to try to get involved in it at some point. Affirm, we talked about getting stopped out at 47 and then waiting for 50 even. You're going to see it go all the way up to 47.5 and come right back into VWAP. So I'm not going to rush to get back into this trade. Although the NASDAQ just pulled back below 14,300, that is that resistance point that we think is key. If a firm then puts in, a lower high at 47 even or so, then it might be a false breakout at 47, and I would go back into that trade. Otherwise, it's Peloton short, it's Lucid short, and then the long I still like holding on to is Rivian. I do want to check back in on Facebook. It's now rejected. That is an ugly wick. It's now rejected a couple of times, breaking out from 220, but it's just 216 that I want to defend. Everything else, to me, is forcing it. Either it breaks out from this level or it retests 216 for the long. And the last one before we go to Brendan, AMD right back into 118. You're seeing that level hold pretty nicely here. Strong move for AMD, but we thought 118 would be resistance. For now, that's holding out to be true. I'm not shorting it until it tested that level. That's come. So 118 stop. I'll try my first short in AMD when we come back from Brendan. Or just now.
Hi guys, 10 o'clock already. Let's have a look at how things are shaping up here. Back into negative territory for the S&P 0.14. The Dow leading right now. It's 0.5% to the downside. A bit of a choppy day so far for the Russell. The 2,000 showing some strength. Everything else back to the downside here. The NASDAQ, though, is where the strength is at. As we said, the tech stocks were leading initially, getting tangled up here. Initially to the downside and then back to the upside as well. I mentioned Coinbase in the pre-market off that BTC strength. Nice move, 194 up to 202. Back below 200 again, though, for Coin. Still decent volume, though, on Coin. The other end of that, JP Morgan, some of the banks were weak in the pre-market, continuing to the downside. Now 1.3 here lower for JPM. Guys, back over to you.
What are you saying this to Sean? Like, after that wipeout bottom AMD put in, and we were talking about the Xilinx thing. It's like, why wasn't I looking for the long? I know it's because it broke out at 7:40 in the morning and we're so far away from that 50 period and we'd made the move and I wanted to be defending 111. Anyways, as I got in and out at 118, it put in that failed break thing that you see happen every now and then. And I'm going to talk through as I take profit on the way down here. So it broke 118, got to 118.04. So I get stopped out for a 10-cent hit. And then it's like, okay, I'll give it more room than this because it immediately failed right back in. So shorted again at 91, pretty much the exact same price. And it's so strong, I'm not even thinking anything past VWAP. Forget about VWAP, actually. 116.50. I kind of feel like I'm going to get it all out in front of 116.50 because the more I talk about this and we think about the context of what AMD did the last couple of days, and then you throw in that 111 bouncing, I just feel like this stock should be strong, and it's shown you signs of, ridiculous strength this morning. A very linear move to the upside. Didn't even show signs of stalling out till he got to the most obvious level. So how about ringing the register on AMD, not trying to hit a home run here. And then also with Rivian, I'm holding on to that Lucid short, by the way, but it would be criminal, and I would say it is actually already criminal to have said, okay, let's give Rivian a couple of pegs to get up to that 66, and then just because we were short in Lucid, not even think about what we want to do with it, and all of a sudden we could be giving it all back to that 62. I cannot let this break 62 into the downside. If it retests 64, I'm probably going to have to get out of it. That was a hard right turn by the overall market, and I didn't get the short in Moderna, so we missed out on that. We did get in and out of AMD, but we didn't hold that short either. Don't want to compound that by turning Rivian into a losing trade.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I agree with all of that. Rivian, same trade, man. We're still sitting here waiting for that to go through. And then again, we did not take, well, we took profit on Softy, but not where we wanted to, so now it's come back in. And again, these are not really reload spots for me, man. We're gonna wait a little bit lower than this. If we can get a 293, well, I guess 293 is good enough. Let's put a 293 bid in here for a little bit of a reload. Not a huge position because we are very, very aware that anything could happen right now. So let's just get on the side of be on the side of caution here and take a little bit of long and then watch out what's happening. But we do have a nice little win right now. Yes, sir. Let's go. Yeah. Because look at Peloton, man. We held out for that one for a while, as now Peloton coming back down to the downside. So that's a good trade for us. We are now $1 in the money on Peloton. So how funny that is. $1 in the money on Rivian long and $1 in the money on this side here for Peloton. So watch out here. But so far so good with Peloton. We are trying to get a little bit more out, but $1 in the money, still have lower targets, 33.50.
Yeah, definitely going to try to hold on to that. And look, as I just mentioned, AMD wanted to get out of it pretty quickly, and then like the market started to accelerate back on me there. But that's a pretty specific trade, right? Like at 118 double top, it's super strong. You're going to take it out in front of what was the opening range high at 116.13. Maybe that's the wrong decision, but you got to live and die on the sword. You got to determine whether it's like Peloton, where I was planning it all morning long, want to hold on to it off of those key levels, or something that comes up off that 118 level and I never got the long and I just want to play that quick in and out fade trade. So that's the idea there. It could be wrong, like I said. Moderna, it's just, I don't know, I guess there's, at some point you can't chase this, and I might have missed any chance to get into the short trade. You're now seeing it down at 145. I'm not saying it's done. It's down 10%. It's about to go SSR. But at some point, if I can't find where I'm going to be wrong and a good out on the trade, I got to start thinking about where it could slow down for some other plays. Maybe it's a bounce off of like maybe a 144, which is the level on the daily chart. Otherwise, we're waiting for a much bigger fade or a lunchtime trade. Moderna, just absolutely bonkers. Should be checking in on BioNTech and Pfizer to see about some sympathy plays. Brendo?
This Nightscope trying to rally again, guys. This KSCP, remember, this is another one of those tiny little IPOs that got run all the way up here to 27. Comes all the way back to 650. But there was a deal announced this morning. Nightscope teaming up with Allied Universal on some work. So a heads up on KSCP.
Yeah, that's one from that we definitely have traded like it was like a couple of weeks ago. I just to double check on Splunk, sorry, not Spunk. I know, right? I was going to look to fade off of 125. That was a key level it tried to break in the pre-market. It goes to 124, and this is the thing. Like, it's going to sound like a broken record, but if that's the key level on the daily was 125, I'm not going to jump too far in front of it. It went to 124 and is bouncing into the downside. Cisco rumored to be buying them for $20 billion in total. Rivian's trying to make a bit of a bounce play, so if it retests off that high, I might have to consider getting this out. Like I said, don't want to hold on to this one too long and not take the profits. Somewhere in the 64 to 64.5 range would be the target, but if it breaks 62, then we will have given this one up and kind of bungled the trade by getting way too greedy on it, but I wanted to give it more room. I am holding on to the Lucid short without a bid. So in the event that Rivian stops out, I would still be holding on to Lucid at the top in front of 28, which I think would have a chance to get back down to the 26.5. So one of these two, I think, is going to test the bigger boundary. Relatively good stops because we have short Lucid at the high of the day, and then we're long Rivian off that 62.25 level. So one way or the other, I think we should have a pretty decent winner that we can hold on to. I'm just not willing to guess which one it's going to be. Obviously, I kind of thought it was going to be Rivian by the way that we traded that one earlier. Affirm, by the way, yeah, I know. So I got stopped out of Affirm. I never really got back into that trade when it retook 47, and there's the flush back into 45. So I'm not down on Affirm, but certainly a bit of a misread, as once it broke 47, I was really more anticipating that it would make a strong push maybe to 50. Then we could short that level. I only wanted to play shorts as long as it was below that 50 level. Affirm, already weak, just faster than I thought.
Yep. So again, just a quick look here on what we're doing. Peloton, we just got some out there at 60s. So getting some more out on this one as it's $1 in the money. And we're just noticing that I thought that the NASDAQ was going to try to go back to the upside here, trying to take that, but it just did a little bit of a psych right there. So let's wait to see. We still are short on Peloton. It's my #1 stock, just net wise. Rivian is going to be my #1 stock, but I've realized more profit obviously on Peloton. As Rivian right now, and I know Neil just talked about it, but still $1.60 in the money on this name. So no problems for me on Rivian so far anyways. Let's wait to see where it goes. I want to get longer though if it comes back down to 62. So that's a play that I'm looking at. And then we have Reloaded on Microsoft. But again, if the market doesn't go back upside, then yeah, it's going to reload pretty badly for us. So let's go to the upside here on Softy. We're waiting for 290-250 fail. If that goes down, then yeah, it's going to look bad because we were long numerous times. We could have taken $2 on this name, but you can see the Microsoft and the NASDAQ just now thinking about turning red on NASDAQ. And if you look at Softy here, we're well below here, like we're 0.74. So Microsoft on the downswing of things here. So, I mean, not good. It's already weaker than the market, period. And now you're going to get the market failing. So, yeah, very, very nervous about this one. 290-250. We're gone. I know it's going to look like, and even if it hits it and bounces back up, like it's just, you know, too much risk on Microsoft if the market does turn down, which leads me to Apple, which we were trying to load earlier. That 172 level is very, very key for me here. We bounced around it. It's right in here, 172 on the high side. So anytime we're near there, I think we want to try to short this thing. We're not near it yet, but Apple just waiting for that last leg to drop here. Apple's been so strong, like on a daily chart, into this weakness that if this name fails, like we're still well above the 200 period. And now, just on Friday, took out the 50 period for Apple. So that's, you know, where I'm concerned. The 50 period is basically at 172. So yeah, if this tree falls, Apple, then yeah, I'm not sure what's going to be left. So watch out for NASDAQ, watch out for all these names here, including AAPL.
And sort of along those lines, I'm just going to pull over my my UVXY chart. That's what I'm using to watch volatility. Friday's wick top, this was 1750. If you're tracking the VIX, I mean, the prices might be different. The chart's going to be the same. But we have a triple top here at 17.5. And look, if this breaks, we take out this high, hold on to your shorts, right? Like start thinking about canceling bids on your shorts. And then if we actually pull back from here, the market might try to hold 14.2 on the NASDAQ. But I've talked about how in this kind of a market, you need to be at least looking at volatility, I think, for some of those momentum plays. And again, you know, lucid short. The only thing I'm long is Rivian, which I think has some good support on it. But if you are in some long positions and you got support coming in, you know, watch out for that break at the high. And I promise we look at some relative, some sympathy plays for Moderna. You're seeing Pfizer, it broke that 50 level. It's down at 49. Look, this is now broken, obviously, $50, which is a key support level on Pfizer and has done so a couple of times. That might be an easier way to play into the weakness in the vaccine names, would be some kind of a short in front of 50 if it were to pop. I talked about Rivian possibly getting back to that 65, and it would be criminal if I didn't try to take it out. So there it is. I'm going to ring the register. You're now seeing out of Rivian on the long side of the trade. I'm just in the couple of shorts. I would like to find my way into Pfizer or Moderna, but I'm not going to chase them. So far, so good. We'll see what happens with Peloton, but I could be in it for a while. And yes, Andy Bacon, I said spunk instead of splunk. I think I said splunk right once this morning, at least. So every now and then I'll get it right. I have verbal diarrhea all the time. You talk this much while trading, it's going to happen to you. And if you're reloading, more power to you off that 124. Maybe I should be playing this level. I don't know if you're loading on a short or a long. If you're loading off a short, I'm assuming it's in front of 124. If it's a long, it's got to be down here. But I liked 125 a little bit better, so I'm waiting around for that price.
And I got to do like a little kid does and double knot these. I don't know why these.
What's going on?
I don't know, man. My shoes just keep on getting untied, and then these are the.
Which ones?
Yeah, the Air Force Ones, but the customs.
Okay.
But anyway.
Oh, I know the ones.
Yeah, so I don't know. I got to get Shout out to Laced Up Souls there, Mike.
You got to get the...
He was looking, I think he's still waiting to find out like what style of shoe you like, but I don't know. What's up to Mike?
You know I'm boring like that.
I know, I know. Those, the Cactus Jack, shout out to Neil for those as well, those slippers. Okay, so right now, just so you guys know, we did ring the Reggie, money on Softy, so the market does start to go back up to the upside there, and Mr. Softy, and sometimes, you know, we talk about just staying with the stocks that you're most comfortable with, so there's Microsoft right back to 293. We talked about reloading that. There it is out there at 293.50 for 50 cents. So we just take a 50-cent win, and now we're battling this side. I hope so anyways. Yeah, 295. Oh yeah, as if. I have an offer up here, 295.92. So I was thinking I was going to say, oh, hopefully I'm going to get out at 295 next time. So let's just dump that order $1 lower. I know it sucks, but we'll still have a piece on if it does go. It's just Microsoft today has been a funny name. Look, if it goes, great, but I think it's a little silly, just like that Rivian trade there that's now $2 in the money. Neil was ringing the register on that one. I think you got to do that at some point, especially on a name that's weaker than the market like Microsoft. So unless things turn around on this name, which hopefully it does, we'll still be long. Let's put an offer at 294.90 or so. Look where we're long. We're long 293.20. So we're 50 cents in the money now. We just took a piece off. So, you know, we can afford to let this one, deal with us a little bit here. We got good on Peloton, and it's just kind of barcoding. So I think we're in a good spot with all of our positions, man. Microsoft, 80 cents in the money. Peloton, 90 cents in the money. Rivian, $2 in the money. And SoFi, 25 cents in the money. So, yeah, man, I can't be happier with the positions today, and I hope you guys are enjoying the show and had some success like we have.
Yeah, and like I said, ring register on Rivian, but oddly enough, still somehow in Lucid. Market bouncing, like we talked about that level on the VIX or in volatility pulling back a little bit. So you are seeing a bit of a test of those highs, but guess what? Like Lucid still hasn't actually managed to break back out. I didn't reload this, and I would look to do so, but I just kind of feel like I want to see more weakness here. And overall, Lucid has gone pretty parabolic, so I need to be a little bit more patient with this because I have to admit, like that was a break that I was not anticipating and was much stronger than I thought. So might not be reloading just yet. If we hold 28 a little bit longer, that could be okay, but just noting that strength. I'm not reversing long, by the way. And I believe I heard Brendan.
Uber, guys, just bouncing up. Sorry, I'm reading a couple things. Uber just bouncing back up above VWAP anyways. Temasek, which is a Tencent subsidiary, dissolving their stake in the company. That was announced in the pre-market, but decent volume there, back to 35 anyways for Uber.
So like I said, the last of the Lucid will be taking the hit at 128 break, so I'm not going to hold it through. That leaves me with just a Peloton trade, which I anticipate. I could be in Peloton all day. Like I might. That's the one that kind of this morning when it broke those levels and I was looking at it, that's the one worth holding if it can go all day long. Uber to me, like it hasn't shown me signs that it's anything but a sell after. And we can, whatever, I'm not going to talk about the halt and why it didn't make any sense, but ever since then, you can see it trying to test these bottoms here at 34. And until it breaks, it would probably have to break 36 until you're convincing me that it shouldn't be faded. But when we talk about this aforementioned 34, inside the range, who cares? This thing breaks 34 to the downside. Like this is what we're talking about, 34 all the way down to 32.5. It's $1 away, but guess what? You don't want to get into that level and then you're thinking about what you want to do. To me, Uber breaks 34 to short. It breaks 36. It might be coming back in for a long trade. Inside, I just didn't really see anything that was interesting. Maybe that story is going to be a catalyst. I have no idea. Moderna is really the one that got away. And shout out Stephen Howard, BNTX. That's what you got to do, right? And I'm assuming you hit the short there. I don't know why I looked at Pfizer, but whatever. You try to look for a sympathy play. BNTX, BioNTech is going to be a mover much bigger than a Pfizer. It's more volatile, more directly tied to some of the vaccine plays, but Moderna has shown absolutely no chill. On the 15-minute, it's just gross. Like, look at this rollover. And one of the reasons I like by the way, the Peloton trade 33.70 is because when it broke down, like it was just so much room if it fell. And Moderna was sort of a similar thing when you look at 156 here. So kudos to anybody that was looking at that shelf and saying, I wanted to play the weakness in Moderna. Clearly wish I had seen this instead of Peloton. Nothing you can do about it now.
Peloton's good on the downside.
It is, but like that Moderna trade, because remember for like weeks, and this is back at like 300, so I know it's a long time ago, but there was weeks where it was like every single day we're just looking for short setups in Moderna, and then that turned into like every single day looking for short setups in a firm, and then it was Lucid for a while, and I feel like Moderna, we're sort of coming back to it. Block, on the other hand, I just wanted to point this one out. We're looking at AMD that was super strong. Look at Block. 108 break. It's still hanging out the highs. Market turns around and Block is just, again, showing some signs of strength. We've already had that bottom off of 100 and then once again breaking out at the open. It hasn't quite gotten to that 118, 119 area where I think it could maybe consolidate and break out. But relative strength over here. When you see the market flat or down and reversing, what's holding up at those highs? I'm seeing Block do that. We talked about AMD. We had the short on AMD. And maybe it's gonna pull back and fall further, but that's still also holding the top end of its range. So a couple of names with some relative strength, at least for now, anyways.
All right, so we are reloaded one more time here, at least for now, as Neil says, because I don't know how much longer this Microsoft's going to hold out. So good out, man. It looks like we took a good out, and I was wondering about that right there. So good out. We did reload it right now. We have a 292.50 defense ready to rock and roll. So we're flat on the trade right now. We're long at 293.08, so literally flat. But there it is. Come on, just get me out. I'm in the 30s waiting for a little bit of a move up here. It looks like we might have got it into the 30s. Come on, 10 more cents, and we get some out here. But that was maybe we'll just get it out a little bit earlier than that. That was a nice move back up there. Let's see if we can get something. There it is. 23s. 23s. Anybody? Nope. See that? I offered 23s into there it is into 23, and it didn't hit us. But there we go. We get out. So we'll ring the register one more time and go boom for Microsoft. But it's not. It's just because we scalped it. I mean, Microsoft is going to be, again, position pending a good day for us, but it needs to go. So all these trades, remember we still have that bad trade up there that we talked about getting the 295 early. I think I'm done now. We put it on like our, how to learn from our mistakes type of stuff, and that is taking these wick tops and things like that off the open. Like it breaks that pre-market level and then just comes right back in. So I feel like you got to sort of defend bottoms in this market and or tops, which we thought we did a pretty good job with Peloton. And I think we did. Boom, boom. Look at Peloton right now, right back in. Okay, I didn't even realize Peloton was this far down. This is definitely a take spot here for me. I thought I had some bids lower. I guess they must have all got filled. So let's put a bid right now if we can get this a little lower on Peloton. I mean, how good would that tick be? Right back in for us. There it is. Yes. Bang on Peloton, as we'll take $1.50 now on Peloton. So yeah, so far so good on that one. We'll take that trade out right there. $1.50, still holding on to Peloton. $1.20 in the money on Rivian, and then Mr. Softy still trying to make moves to the high side. So hopefully the market can hold out here, and we'll be okay moving forward. So anything you want to wrap up before we throw over to Brendo?
Shout out to you guys who just pointed out Walmart breaking a key level on the daily. We'll go to Brendo.
145.
Yeah, retailers positive. I noticed that as well. Let's talk about some small caps. Not a lot to do this morning in small cap world again, unfortunately. It's been a quiet start to the year for these. KVL, big move on Friday, if you remember, up to this 275, 280 area. That is, I think, John's screen, maybe? That's okay, no problem. Thank you. KVL, there we go. 275, 280 was the resistance back on Friday. I was only going to be short this in front of that, so I left my orders on here just to highlight those levels. So in front of 270, in front of 280, just giving it to that high. We're chopping around kind of within the pre-market range. Already gave you a little bit of a scalp down to support. So KVL moving around today. TCBP, 4.7 million share IPO from last week. I was only looking long here, 270 up to 3. It's back below that 270 area, but not really doing much. But unfortunately, that's it for small cap. Back over to you.
I'm with you in that TCBP. Like, maybe I shouldn't. This is the second time I've done it where it's like I've gone short on the super low float one that breaks upside. I take the short, make some back on the long. But really, if I'd only gone long, it would have worked. So kudos to Brendan there. Like, I just shouted you guys out for Walmart. And I remember we were talking about this one last week because, Walmart's had this great level that's held up time and time again, and you're finally breaking below. That's the kind of trade. Now, obviously, I don't have it. I'm not going to necessarily chase it, but you get that multi-day, and this forget about multi-day. Like, you're going back months now off 134, and then look at how much room you got to the downside when you get a momentum trade. I get it. The market is a bit range bound here. And for Walmart, like that might be the kind of thing that, if you don't already have it off the morning break or this breakdown here, you're not necessarily going to chase it. But sometimes you can hold on to those a little bit longer, and that's what it's all about. I do want to check back in on Rivian. We did, like I said, I did get out. I felt like it would be criminal not to take this out here, especially what I saw going on with the overall market failing that breakout. It did get close enough. 65.5 on the 15-minute was kind of the target. It broke 65, got to the quarters, retraces all the way back into 62. I'm like, if it gets back up here, I should just be taking this trade out when I'm basically looking to hold on to some of those shorts. I was short in that Lucid trade as well. The AMD short had also come in. The market was bouncing down off of 14.3. A lot of signs to be able to take that profit and then start going back to the drawing board there. Speaking of AMD, it's doing a similar thing. So you look at these breakouts, these charts look pretty similar. They get to that top, make a double top, get back into VWAP, bounce, retest the highs. Now they're right back on this floor at 116. I think if it breaks that and you haven't taken profit, let's say you're long this, by the way, you took a break at the open. I think if it retakes this, you might want to be considering where you take your profit out because that's still a couple of dollars. I'm not jumping into the short. I'm holding my Peloton short. I'm looking for a few other names, one of which, I mean, comically enough, is going to be Pfizer. Uh-oh, now it's doing that chart loading thing for me. Comically is going to be Pfizer, which is at $49. I really don't think I'm going to get my shot at this one in front of that 50 level. Looks like that's come and gone. This is now going to want to completely freeze on me. But this is what's happening. When I talked about the market failing the 14.3 break and saying if you got some longs, take the profit out. That's why I'm out all on Rivian. You know, and if you're looking at AMD, I said throw some caution in there. That's a bit of a wick high and then a pullback at an obvious level. If the market falls from here, I think you're just holding on to your shorts. Speaking of which, the only one I got on is going to be, now Pfizer wants to come in, is going to be Peloton. And yeah, we scalped some out of it, but I'm still holding on to just over half the trade in my Peloton short because I think it's got room on the gap to be filled. And this is where we're talking about a multi-day level here. You had this 33.70 previous high. I know it's difficult to see, but on the way up on this day, there was a nice little level as well that was shortable at 40, in front of about 34 or so. So it's significant for multiple days. You get a double top pulling back off of 40, and then you're breaking out on that range. And this is why, yes, you can scalp it, but there's room all the way back to 30 even, I think, for this trade. You get the market pulling back in, and this one should go. Obviously, and this is hindsight's 2020, Moderna's put in a similar move and already gone. But you can't rewind time here. I still think the setup's valid for Peloton to be held. It's about to test 33 again. If it breaks, like I said, I have a bid in front of 32. I have an ultimate target at 30. I'll play some discretionary, maybe get some out in front of 31 if it gets down to that price. Every dollar now on Peloton. And speaking of Moderna, yeah, there's no signs. This is a baiting. Like, I can't believe how this has been so weak, and to not have gotten into this trade. You know, I did try to get it here at 153.5, but now you're down, what, $17 from the breakdown price? I think you're maybe thinking, if there's size at 140, maybe I just try a 140.05 long and risk 5 cents if it gets down there.
Oh, guys. Yeah, so we have Peloton written on the sticky note to short. You know, $2 in the money. Right now, we've got Rivian to go long. It's nice. We got reloaded with the coffee. We just spoke to the lawyer. It looks like it's going to be no vaccine mandates as of the 1st, which is going to be nice. We'll wait for mask mandates to come through as well, or to be lifted. Rivian, $1.33 right now to the upside. Microsoft, 80 cents and blowing up to the upside right now. SoFi still going. I got to give a big shout out to Tony because I saw more candies on his desk, and he...
it's a different one?
Yeah, it's a different one. He has 5 different colors of these I got the grapefruit one, I guess, and he has 5 different colors. So there goes Neil. He's going to go get one. 5 different colors. Go show the double pip here. We can see. He gone to go get candy there. But anyways, we're going to choose this one. We'll see which one Neil chooses there when we get back. So yep, we'll see. Which one did you choose?
Come on, man. You guys put the camera on me for that?
Yeah.
I took the orange one.
The orange, straight orange. Yeah, okay. I saw
Tony's awesome, man. Like,
I saw a blue one there, and I was like, I don't want. It just didn't look natural, like a blue in this shape. But shout out to everybody. Put in the chat there what your favorite candy is. I actually like for chocolate bar, I like Mars bar. I don't know, but there's so many good ones.
I'm Snickers. It's just if it's a chocolate bar, I get it. That's old school, but like peanuts, it just. Like it satiates you, right? So if I'm going to eat a chocolate bar or something like that, I want to make sure that I'm satisfied. I'm not going for like 4 or 5 because that's the problem with like pastries. It's like you can always eat 5 of them, but a good chocolate bar, you should be happy with that, and that's what a Snickers gets you. So I want to shout out Havana Woody.
Havana.
I mean, mostly because, look, maybe we get suggestions for all kinds of stocks to watch. And when we're doing the morning prep show, obviously we have what we're going to go through, and we get suggestions all the time. But shout out if you caught or were looking at Moderna, because that's about as gorgeous as it gets for a setup to the short side. And I wish I had it.
Straight sugar.
And I know you guys tried to give it to us, but sometimes we just miss out and we can't see everything in the chat. Of course it's straight sugar, man. I don't know what you expected.
Honestly, Tony.
He is a sugar fiend.
I almost want to just throw. Honestly, you might not want to eat it, man.
You know what he's like? So, anyways, I'm gonna sell up my roommate from uni on this.
It's just straight sugar.
Remember Adrian?
Like, yeah.
So my roommate in second, third year, this guy had 0 body fat. We ran track together. I mean, the guy's always jacked. But in first year, he spent 40% of his residence budget, like your meal plan, 40% on candy.
Yeah.
I'm talking like sugar candy.
Yeah.
And the guy's guy has perfect teeth and 0% body fat. It was ridiculous. It's like, how do you do this, man? But anyways, I have no idea if teeth weren't rotted, but he got me on a lot of this candy fetish that I'm on, and other things as well. Checking back in on the market, somehow I'm not short a firm, and a firm is now at that 45 again. So it looks like a firm could be in the afternoon retesting some of those lows. The current bottom, by the way, on a firm is $44 even. But if we do get a late breakdown at 44, just keep in mind, a firm is short sell restricted. So even if you try to hit that bid, you will need an uptick for any fill to the short side when you try to remove liquidity. But 44 even sits right there. It's about to retake 45. I'm just hanging on to Peloton and looking for a couple more trades here. We noted relative strength in Square. Oh, I typed NASDAQ for Square.
You're done.
I'm done. Oh, it worked. So anyways, Block, Square, whatever, back up to the top. Double top 114 on Block. You saw double tops on AMD before a bit of a reversal. Saw a double top on Lucid. I got wiggled out of that short on Rivian as well. So these are some of the stronger names. I'm looking to see which one of these holds support. Right now it's 111 on Block, because if we break the top, I want something that didn't even think about retesting those lows for an afternoon break. Peloton just tested again at 33. So this is several times it's been trying to chew through this level. Whether it breaks now probably doesn't change too much for me. I'm going to give it all the way to that 35 high. But this is it, push coming to shove, right? The market's in a range. So we're showing you names that are relatively strong, that if we don't break the range or break it in one direction, which ones do you like long, which ones do you like short? I think right now Block looks like it's a pretty strong name for the long side. We've already mentioned Peloton here for some weakness. AMD, just moving to my 15-minute, just to show you in retrospect how far AMD has come. That looks relatively strong as it's holding the top end of the range right around this cluster at 1 o'clock when it got to 118. So it's still trying to hold. It could break 118 in the afternoon, but I only want longs and things that are strong or at really defined levels like Facebook 216. Moderna wouldn't be a strong level at 140. That would just be a round number, and it would be down $20. But that would be a defensive, a round number, and nothing else.
Yeah, I'm just debating right now, doing the same thing with Microsoft and not just waiting for the cows to come home. Like it's bounced off too many times off this view up. I'm telling you, Neil, don't have it, man.
Why not? I love it.
Okay. I want to see Neil's reaction when he has it afterwards. Obviously, we don't need the camera on him, but unless he wants it. It's not. I don't know. It's the texture. There's something wrong.
I love it. It's great.
Do you like it?
Great.
It's great. Okay. Yeah. For me, it's
you shouldn't need a bag.
It literally melts in your mouth, which to me, I was expecting more jujube.
It's sugar.
Yeah, exactly. It's just straight sugar, colored sugar, which I guess is fine. Okay, so just an update here. We are trying to get out of Microsoft here at 78 or so. So here it comes up to, there it is. Yes, ring the register again. Let's go. Nice little win there for Softy as that's starting to go back up to the upside again. So yes, good trade here for Microsoft as we just reloaded that bottom. A couple of reloads here. Nice. Again, the only mistake we have all day is this one, but we keep reloading Microsoft to take that to the upside. $1.80 in the money on Peloton. We probably missed a bottom here, but whatever, man. I mean, we've been wanting to short this one to the grave. What's up, Brendo?
Another one still holding up here nicely. The market kind of chopping around here, but Micron, guys, still 2.6. Tag 93 a couple of times coming off from that right now. But Micron definitely showing some relative strength, as they say. I am very happy, guys. It's 10:30. There's an hour left over in the European session. Kind of choppy, but in the meantime, I am very happy to announce. Make sure you're here on Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon, we're going to iron out the time a little bit more precisely, but between 2:30 and 3, Peter Schiff is going to be on this show. So I can pass that along now, guys. Happy to announce Peter Schiff coming up Wednesday afternoon. Put it in your calendar. Make sure you're here for that.
I wonder if he's going to call another recession, so we'll see what happens here with Peter Schiff coming through.
So I did the Dr. Evil as if that was somehow gold member. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
That was okay.
That was a good ad, by the way. Oh, you didn't see it.
No.
So GM did they had Mike Myers. They had the whole cast from Austin Powers do the whole. It was based on EV or whatever, and saving the world before he takes over. You should watch it. It's pretty good. But they had the guy that plays Scott, and I'm blanking on his name. Seth Rogen.
Oh,
is that right?
Yeah.
Is it?
No, the guy who plays his kid.
Yeah, what's his name?
Oh, no, that's not Seth Rogen. I don't know.
It's not Seth Rogen. It's no, you give me a break.
Anyways, he was in it there.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he is good. I like that guy.
Mike Myers, baby.
It's not Seth Myers.
No, it's
anyways, well, we know who both those guys are, but we don't know who he is.
Seth Green. Thank you.
Green.
WBC legit. Thank you guys in the chat.
There it is, Seth Green.
I'm old. I forget things.
Wicked. So Peter Schiff, guys. So a big name there, obviously. If you don't know, hopefully you'll know. And we'll see if he's touting gold and all that kind of stuff. So that should be fun. Okay, so Microsoft, one last reload, but there it is. It's gone now, so that's fine. See you, Microsoft, down to the downside right now as the market is absolutely collapsing, which is good for us because the only thing we have, well, now that we're out of Microsoft, that wasn't good, but what a good out that was. Like, we had just got that out and we're debating doing it, remember? And then it just went down $1. So you could see, like, this is the market that we're in right now, man. Like, I was just debating taking that out. We took a piece out and then got the last piece out there for flat. So, wow, pretty lucky on that one for sure because we were debating a higher move. But once you broke through on the NASDAQ there, it was kind of easy for me. All right, Rivian, one last shot here on the reload. We're going to give this, I forget where my bottom was. I didn't really write a bottom here on Rivian. We were talking about maybe a 58 coming to the downside here. I think that's going to be too far down. We'll take another shot here on Rivian. Maybe we'll see what happens around this $60 level. Obviously, it is coming back in. I hope the George Soros bump isn't over because we did have it. It did come all the way up to the upside. We're still positive. Obviously, we're still positive on the name, but we'll see here. And let's just see how spicy this thing gets back down in near 58, 59. So we'll stay on this trade. We'll stay on the Rivian trade. We do have the Peloton short, which is now $2 in the money and collapsing. So that's going to be a good short for us. And then SoFi is getting into a level where I think we should test it one more time here on SoFi. And again, we're not taking any of these names to the grave with us. We'll use SoFi through this 220 bottom here, 1220 bottom. So worth taking on SoFi for a little bit of a runner back upside if this market does rebound.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly show, like, I keep watching back to this 17.5 on UVXY. Like, this is how many times we're testing that Friday high. And it's now like 4 or 5. It just can't seem to break. But if it goes, we break this, then we're going to get out of this range-bound, I want to say nonsense, but the range-bound action that we're seeing in the futures. That Facebook is getting real close to that 216 bottom. I do have a bid in just in case it gets there. But overall, at this point, the reason I don't want to force trades, either you find something you're shorting off the top or have a good one that we're sitting in like Peloton, or as the futures goes back and forth, the NASDAQ trying to break and then you see volatility there holding up, unless we retest the bottom, break the low, or hold the low, there's not much to do here. You only want to be long off support or short in front of the top. So if you're not in the money holding something good, then you don't need to be forcing trades. That's why Facebook 220 stands out to me. I'm looking at AMD here, which maybe I should have liked the short better than I did and reloaded at 118. At the time, I thought it was relatively strong. Now AMD's rolling through 116. So even that's starting to pull back. Lucid, which we had to the short side and got stopped out, that's holding support as well. So Lucid took me by a surprise. I suppose it shouldn't because we both like Rivian long. I don't know why. I guess Lucid's a very similar setup, and it actually went even better to the upside. And now you're looking at it possibly retaking that 28. But if it breaks 27 and a quarter, 27, there's a lot of room for that to go. I wouldn't short this anywhere but off the high of the day. I'm not looking to take a breakdown and risk $1 on a Lucid trade when it just came out of nowhere to show the kind of strength that it did. Speaking of EVs, come at the king, you bet not miss Polestar. Yeah, this is Tesla, another stock showing relative strength. Keep in mind, that opening bounce off at 850. Sometimes I guess we shouldn't make it that complicated. 850 was a great level last week. It was only below that in the pre-market and then made a break when the buy programs came on. and the 850 held 1, 2, 3 times, including the open, and when you went right to 880, which was the other level that we liked on the way up to 950. So Tesla putting a nice little bull flag in. That could break out. I think that would take Lucid with it to the upside, which is why you got to be careful challenging that to the short side.
Yeah, we actually are about to make hopefully some bank here on Rivian as we do obviously support that bottom there, like we said, of $62. We liked it, so we'll sit here. I mean, I thought I was getting out soon. My offer's in the 70s, so we'll see here if it gets going through here. But I mean, again, just instantly in the money now, 70 cents on this trade. So, or sorry, 50 cents on this trade. We're trying to get out in the 70s. So we reloaded it down here at 62.20. It just bounced right off VWAP there. Let's zoom in a little bit. It just bounced off there. That's why we're waiting in the 70s. It goes to like 72, 71. We're a little higher than that. Unbelievable. But hopefully it rips up and takes out. Come on, Rivian. That's going to look sucky if it bounces right off there, because that's literally where we're sitting. We missed it by a penny. We're at 62.73. Hopefully that comes back up, but that's what it is. All right, so let's find out about that. You talked about...
Look at Moderna, man.
I know, you talked about Moderna, but what the hell?
It's at 139 now.
What did Brendan? Did we have news on this? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, the CEO sold some shares apparently.
But okay, it's getting to a spot now where
it's ugly. This is ugly.
Yeah, I don't really understand. Here's the daily chart. We're all the way back down here. This is just puking. Obviously, there's going to be more to come here with Moderna. But
he also deleted Twitter.
Oh, the CEO on Moderna deleted his Twitter account. Yeah, I mean, so the last time Twitter mattered, I wasn't sure, but it looks like this just keeps on going to the downside. Just so, I don't know, maybe there's some bad news coming. I think maybe that's what people are thinking.
Yeah, well.
But let's find out. Brendan, anything on this?
It's not just Moderna, guys. Look at NVAX as well. I mean, just like 11%, straight southbound here from 89 all the way down to 80 as well, coming into these levels again for like Novavax. So all of them very, very weak so far.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and rightfully so. I think whoever it was, and apologies, because I know it was probably 25 minutes ago that I saw your name in the chat, BioNTech, like just jumping into that name, right? Like I was trying to pull up Pfizer for a bit of a bounce plan. It's like, what are you even looking at Pfizer for, Neil? It's pure habit, right? Because that's a stock I already have in my quote board at all times.
I just went to Pfizer.
I know, but it's like, you know what moves more. Like BioNTech is going to move, give you a bigger percentage move. You know, NVAX is going to give you a bigger percentage move. But I'm not sure I could have caught this trade either. You just either had that at the break, you got the first consolidation down here. Like BioNTech looks like 159 to 160.5. And at that point, like you can be shorting the pops, but I like to know where I'm wrong first. And I didn't want to be chasing it. That's why you're not going to see me. And I wish that wasn't true. I'm still also watching Splunk, which I guess 124 is the better level. You see it's like 3 times off 124. It's pulled back in here. Rumors, of course, of Cisco potentially buying them. There's nothing concrete. I was looking 125. It's come nowhere close to that. So I might not be trading that one at all, it seems. You mentioned AMC. We'll go back to you, and then I was going to mention that the other side of usually the AMC trade, GameStop made a hard right turn off of exactly $125. That's been a level.
Yeah. Oh, I should have looked at AMC. Actually, that's what we should do. Let's try to find, see if we can catch a falling sword on that name, maybe. Okay, so PayPal, new position. It's just bounced off 112, 113, basically here. If it breaks it, it's an easy out for us. It just went in the money, like 20 cents there on a little bit of a spike there when we got in. But let's just wait to see here. Hopefully the NASDAQ will hold out. This is well designed. So for me, this is a no-brainer. It's 40 cents to the downside and a lot to the upside. So let's just wait to see if the market goes. We do have a bottom here. If you did prefer, first of all, come on, Rivian. Honestly, it just touched it again. Like, what are you even doing here? I'm going to have to get out a little bit earlier on this than I thought. Let's put an offer at 60. Hopefully, we'll get filled there on Rivian at 60 and just make 50 cents on the first bid, and then we'll try to hold. There we go. Oh, nope, we didn't get that. All right, so let's just watch out right now for Rivian as that's starting to go back up to the upside as well right now. So watch out for Rivian. We're going to watch out for PayPal. And then other than that, man, we're just kind of like stone cold chilling right now, waiting for more.
That's what it's all about. Sometimes you just got to stone cold chill. I just got asked about Zillow. And one of the reasons, and I've actually mentioned this in the chat, I've probably said it a few times, I don't think you should be over trading. I'm going to go right back to showing what volatility is doing. It just keeps on making this test at the high. So look, if we break out, you hold your shorts, find some more, start considering getting out of your longs. But until we make a move off of this, you sit in things that are in the money. You don't want to necessarily overtrade because we're not going to hold this for too much longer. If we pull back big, then I think the market could potentially break out there. But it looks like we're just following along volatility. And speaking of which, let's see what the overall market is doing and what is up and what is down with Sector Watch at the big screen.
Hey guys, yeah, quick look at the overall S&P. We are down 0.57 currently. A lot of that coming from energy stocks right now, and also the materials sector pretty weak today. But oil down, so all of these guys under pressure, 4 to 5%. You can see Apache leading the way, about 5% to the downside. Halliburton 3% there. Oxy, XOM 3.5 each to the downside. So oil stock weak. CF and Mosaic here updated their current quarters, leading the way for material stocks also under pressure. There's consumer staples, there's real estate stocks and utilities also to the downside, but not huge moves at the moment. Banks are under pressure as well. JP Morgan there, 2.1%. WFC 1.6%. Citi, they're all here. BAC 1.5%. So financials are actually leading when it comes to the move to the downside today. That's Moderna, 12.9%. Pfizer right beside it. J&J down here as well, 1.7 to the downside. So healthcare stocks also under pressure. If you're looking for where do we go for strength? Tech stocks, and more specifically, the semiconductors here still in pretty good shape. AMD 3.2. There's Micron we talked about. NVIDIA as well, 2%. So semiconductors specifically, software equipment makers and technology hardware equipment makers, I should say, both in the red so far. But these guys standing out as relatively strong. Wanted to mention some of the travel stocks here also in positive territory. And that kind of goes, I think, with this whole vaccine move today. As Sean was saying there, vaccine mandate coming off in this province, March 1st. So a lot of people maybe starting to travel a little bit more. But 0.5 so far for the S&P, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense about all these vaccine makers and things like that. As obviously the mandates relieve themselves, there's no point for anybody that's not vaccinated. I mean, whether or not there's a point or not, up to you. But I think that's part of the pressure coming out of those names right now. But okay, so PayPal, guys, yes, sir, we did it on that one again. So yeah, we're on one on PayPal. A nice little long. I told you that was well worth that risk. So now we're in the money pretty nicely on PayPal. Now 70 cents in the money. And you know what? Honestly, maybe we just take a piece out right now. Check out Rivian now, $2 in the money. Bang on that one. I didn't even realize, Neil, how much Rivian had just gone off right there. Yes, sir. Look at, you want to talk about a reload and talk about why we're on one right now. Look at Rivian. Bang. I honestly, I didn't think it was this high. I thought we were more in here. Nice move there on Rivian, man. Nice move on PayPal, right back up to VWAP. We should have taken some out, so that's what I was going to look at. Let's do that on Rivian. But wow, what a good day. Or on PayPal, sorry. Let's get out at 114, and then if it keeps going higher, then we'll watch that. But so far, so good here on PayPal. Buy. Honestly, today's been a great day for us. Peloton, $1.70 in the money, man. Rivian, $1.85, $2 in the money on Rivian. As that, like, look at this reload right there. This is one I got to tweet this one out probably right there. And then SoFi on the reload as well, man. Wow, good job there on SoFi as that's back up to 38. Again, didn't realize it. So yeah, just sitting here talking to Neil about a few things. Let's get some out on SoFi if we can here. We'll take 40% out of this trade if we can. It's right at the 50 period. So SoFi is still rocking and rolling here. Good trade on that one.
And watch out, that's a few names at that high. Again, we're just pulling back on the VIX like over and over again, but not Virgin Galactic. Square or Block, whichever one you want to call it, right back to that top is actually lower highs that it's putting in at 113.50. I'm just noticing across the board, just about everything that was strong is doing the exact same move here. Unless your plan is to scalp it a little bit, like you saw, Sean just showed you guys Rivian with a triple top. AMD, on the other hand, already put in a triple top, and it's a little bit lower. So it was in the bucket of names that I considered relatively strong. Block was in there, of course. We talked about Lucid. We talked about Rivian. But AMD showing at least a few cracks in the armor as those names were all retesting the highs in that last little push, and we're still lower, which you hold below that 116. This level here in the afternoon, and AMD could be under it. So it might fall into the other bucket, like something I'm willing to short below VWAP there. Until that happens, I'm now starting to think about whether I should just be, if we're going to be sitting here in a range, then that block top, and I've done it again, There we go. Oh, it worked. This block top, if we fade one more time off of 114, I might just take a scalp trade. Like if you're just risking 30 cents and VWAP is down there $2 lower, that trade's going to be there. It sets up for a breakout as well, but we might as well play it both directions.
I just put in the chat there, like, just what's happening to my account right now. Like Peloton, $2 in the money, going downside more here. Unbelievable. PayPal, we just got out at 113.95 on that one, so we're smoking on that. So PayPal 50 cents, Peloton $2. Rivian now tried again to take out that high. Not this high of 65. That's a blowout top there, which created this move down. And now we're trying to blow out the top again on Rivian, but 1, 2, triple top now. I still want to hold this though. So good reload there. Obviously we take, well, that's a 62.20. We get it out at 65 there, so that's 40 cents, and then it just rips through VWAP, through the 50 period, and then starts taking out some new levels. So Rivian was on one on Rivian today. We shorted the Qs early. We got out of that one. I'm just trying to review some of these trades. SoFi, I mean, look at this SoFi trade, guys. And again, we'll go ball in because this has worked out perfectly for us. A couple trades early, or one trade early and out. We did hold it all, the third, all the way back down, and then we reloaded more shares. So we do have our biggest position on, so a little piece out at 36, another piece out there at 40 as we test. Next piece, man, 50s, and then we'll see if we can go up here into the 60s. So we do have a couple bullets here left to fire on our friend SoFi, so we'll see how far that one goes to the upside. But yeah, so far so good. Look at all these positions we're in, man. PayPal, Peloton, Rivian, and SoFi. We're 4 for 4 right there on all these trades, and we're just holding them. We're going to wait to see where they go. And other than that, the only other name that I was trying to look at today, other than we should have been, I mean, I should have been looking, we all should have been looking, I guess, at Moderna, but we didn't. Yeah, so Ford, Ford, again, just noticing this low here on Ford. So where were we trying to get long? Like 1730, okay, so we'll just notice that that's a good spot. We should have been sitting there. I'm at 1726, so it goes as low as 30 there. We're trying to defend that level, but we don't get that, so boo-hoo for that on Ford, but that's another one that we got to look at if it retests 1730.
So I will say this, because every now and then, I mentioned in the beginning of the show that I'd be trading BDSI a little bit, and you'd see it pop up there. It's a $5.60 all-cash buyout deal. This is what level 2 looks like. It's not really going to move a heck of a lot here. This is a gigantic bid and offer. A 1 is 100 shares, right? So there's tons of liquidity on this name. It's done 37 million, but this is the range it's put on. So while I'm doing all of that, I'm also spread trading, which I've been doing for years on buyouts. So if there's a big one that does a lot of volume, I'm sometimes on the side trading it, just capturing that spread, and then also making the rebates. I don't expect a ton of volatility. If it breaks the buyout price, it could go crazy, of course. As I mentioned, I would take a shot at Square and risk like 30, 40 cents off that high. I guess I should be saying block. I keep saying Square. We'll get used to it, even though that's going to be that's a hard one because
that is,
like, the name is so tied to what they do as a legacy thing. But it was just a short in front of that triple top, and then we wouldn't give it much room. I don't like reversing into the long. As long as volatility is where it is, I just don't want to be getting into anything new, like long at the high of the day, unless we're pulling back and really away from that high, or getting into a new short unless we're breaking out at 17.5 on the UVXY. The thing that could, if I was going to change my mind on that, it would have to be something like a firm 44 maybe, which is just a huge level, or a firm back, shorts I'm talking, a firm back at 47, a level we really like. If it's not that, then I'm not forcing it. And when it comes to the long side of the trade, I've already sort of written AMD off a little bit as a little bit relatively weak. We talked about Lucid being super strong. That's trying to take out those highs. If you got it defending off of VWAP, that's one thing. If you got it taking out that top, and then all of a sudden volatility goes the other way, I could see these names start screaming back. And the other problem with Lucid is, look at 2850 that sort of looms up here. This is quarters, and then you have that 50. Look at all of the chop in and around that price. You just go back and forth, a lot of price acceptance, gravity back and forth off there. So if you do get a breakout on Lucid, I think it's gonna be a dirtier trade because there's no clean price action until you get, I don't know, like you're talking $29.5, $30. It's going to be a choppy thing, I think, until you get to $30. That's why I didn't love the break on Lucid. You know, the short actually still makes some sense to me off these levels. And as a matter of fact, you might see me jump back into a short. If this comes back below 28 without taking the quarters, looking at this level, I think it's just worth it being in the short with a tight stop. Brendan's at the big screen. It's 10:50. Wow. Time for Money Talks.
Currency time. Crazy moves last week, if you remember, in the dollar index, DXY over here on the inflation data initially, going back a few days ago. And then we had this move back to the upside over Thursday, Friday, and now again this morning. So a quarter of a point here, or percentage point, I should say, for the dollar. So everything else pretty weak today, including the euro down 0.4. Canadian dollar was down about 0.2. It's starting to come back to the upside a little bit. Same story with the British pound. Japanese yen, Swiss franc still dealing with a bit of volatility. Australia and New Zealand here down significantly today as well. I mean, this was about 0.5%. You can see the Aussie trying to rally as well. Turkish lira higher again today. These are positive, well off the highs that we saw earlier in the day. It was about 0.5% at one point, so back to about break even. But all eyes on the U.S. dollar. This was the CPI data. It's worth noting we'll get PPI producer prices tomorrow, which could be another market mover, guys.
Yeah, pretty sure it will be. But remember, the last CPI didn't really affect the market there on Thursday. It was Bullard that came out. So yeah, we're a little nervous about it, but we're not overly nervous. So let's wait to see what happens tomorrow there with PPI. So we'll find out about that. SoFi right there. So a good one there again. Like, let's just go, yeah, buddy, on that. And we'll just go money bags because SoFi has been exactly that today. It rips all the way up, and now we only have a small piece left, man. We have 40% left as we take a piece out. Another one out there, 20, 40, 60 out on SoFi as that's starting to move to the upside again. So yeah, there it is, man. We talked about that. It was up that 2.5, almost, maybe it was up 3% at one point here in the pre-market. And then it just faded out. Sorry, that's on Friday. I guess it was up here. 13, yeah, I guess 13. 20, 13, 15 there. And then it faded all the way back in, and we find key levels, take advantage of those and hit them. So that's SoFi right there. Nice trade for us on the upside here for SoFi. We could possibly get out of that if we want to. I was debating right here, and again, it's just a matter of what you think about the market. Like, this Rivian is just sitting here. You could take it out at 64.30. I mean, that would be a $2 winner. I don't know why we're not doing that. I just feel like one more shot at this, maybe it breaks, man, and then maybe we do get some of those levels a little bit higher that we're looking for in SoFi, like a 68-ish, something like that. And I know that's crazy, it's only 64, but we'll see like 67, 68 in here, even some of these top 66, 40s. So I don't know, let's just wait to see what does happen with Rivian. But right now, with only 6 minutes to go, those are all my positions, and I'm sitting in them. And I think we did pretty good also with PayPal as that one came back in a little bit now. We already took out 2/3 of this right there at these key levels. So out early on that. Remember, this is 2 minutes after we took it. So there's an in at 40 and out at 70. So that's only 35 cents. And then we take the out at 114 flat there. So that's 70 cents. And yeah, we're going to wait to see if PayPal takes out even higher than that. So far, so good, but a lot of work to be done here still, as I do expect higher moves for all of these positions.
Oh, as you said it, I was just pulling up Lucid and did that thing where NZ became a problem. So I'll have to wait on that chart a little bit. But I did get into Lucid off of that current high, 28.15 is the top. If it breaks, I'll just get out. I'd probably re-engage it one more time at 28.50. But, not going to be forcing it. It's worth mentioning, it hasn't always felt like this. But the NASDAQ is up just over 0.25%. So we are up in the market. I know the ES is down, but overall, it hasn't been that bad of a morning, but you're pretty range bound. I think that's sort of the issue with some of this. And it's a healthcare name, probably dragging down the ES a little bit as well. But you're in a bit of a range, so you hold on to your things that are in the money, trade off of key levels. That's why Lucid short off of 28. I did want to have Facebook, and I talked about exactly where we liked it. I was on that bid. In front of 216, you'll kind of go to the 1 minute so you can kind of see what happened on Facebook. It got down here to 216.71, and I was actually sitting in front of 216.50, so it got really close to getting picked up on Facebook, and now it's all the way back at 218. But we knew what we wanted there. It's just not going to trade it in the middle of the range, only going to play it off of those lows. Like, that's how close it came. Or it's got to hold above 220, show some signs of support down there to execute. But Facebook, turning to the upside, maybe this is a day because that's close enough to 216. If it breaks out from here, you've got yourself your double bottom since earnings. And you still probably have to get past 230, but a decent start here for Facebook.
All right, the dream is alive. Nope, not working. Try to hit the belly dancer there, Lucas. I don't know if we're down now or what. Yep, there it is. We're down on everything. But the dream is alive on this name right here, because there goes Rivian, exactly as we sort of had thought or planned. Rivian trying to take out these. There we go. Here we go. This is why we don't get out. This is why we don't get out, because right now Rivian's starting to go. I mean, we've averaged out. We're holding one piece, so it's not like this is a hero trade. But here it goes. Rivian, okay, started to break. It hit 65 one more time. That might be enough information for us. The highest it went last time was 65.25, and the highest it went this time is not even 65, 64.88. So, all right, that's probably enough for me right there. Let's see if Rivian, so we let it go there. We thought it was going to take out the top. It actually was taking out the top there, and then completely like stonewalled itself at that 65. So I think we can get an offer now. I'd be pretty happy with this. If it goes back to the downside, sure, we will miss out on that, but that's fine if it goes up higher. I'm pretty happy right now taking this. I wanted to see it try one more time there, and it failed, so that's good for me. 64.80 or so out on Rivian. If it does go back to the upside, great. But I mean, I can't keep seeing this top, like tops here and not do something about it. So that's enough for me right there. Futures didn't do anything. Rivian should have gone there. So now 64.70 or so. I'll be pretty happy taking that out on RIVN. Without any further ado, it's the big man at the big desk.
Nothing terribly exciting in the way of earnings tonight, guys. Coming up tomorrow, though, we'll get Airbnb, we'll get Roblox after the close, then Wednesday, NVIDIA. So big names this week to come on the earnings front, starting tomorrow. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a little bit bigger than today.
Yeah, you know Roblox is going to be a big one. NVIDIA is going to be huge for the markets, obviously. It's one of the bigger tech names still left to report. Like, you've gotten through most of them, but NVIDIA is one of the last big ones we're going to get. One that reported, and I apologize, because I actually, about 20 minutes ago, I started talking about Zillow and then got sidetracked with a move that happened in the market. They've already reported. Right. You want relative strength. They're on the board as well, up 5.5%. These setups look these charts look pretty much the same for these strong names. You're just getting bull flags to the left of them and the right of them all over the place. The difference with Zillow is check the breakout, right? Like, you know, this put in a nice range off 58.5. This is a pretty clean, like, multi-day, I mean, including the post-market after earnings. But then a double top here on the daily chart, holding above 58.25. This is a pretty solid setup here, especially if it goes in the afternoon. Strong earnings report that came as a shock to a lot, and then you're getting a break out of the range here today. And maybe the support turns into 58, but Zillow looking pretty solid for an afternoon runner. I'm only in the two positions, going to be in Peloton maybe all day long, but the scalp trade was just lucid here. I'm going to do the same thing we tried to do the first time, take some out in front of 27.50, maybe hold the rest down to around VWAP. As we mentioned, or at least Brennan mentioned a couple of times, Ms. V, her flight got pushed back, so she is coming back tomorrow. That means all of you lucky folks get to see Arun with Trader Prad one more day, as I'm sure he's got some bangers on the way the market's been moving here, and maybe he has some opinions on if the futures can break out. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think the futures are trying to break out again. We're still at those day highs here for futures. So let's see if it does take them out. Obviously, the market is very, very interesting at these levels. Look at Peloton just got hammered down off that bottom. So, yeah, we're going to sit here, try to get that out. Peloton is $2 in the money. Rivian, SoFi climbing again, just bounced off 40 one more time. So watch out for SoFi starting to go upside right now. Crypto, we can check out that quickly as we go. Let me just refresh said portfolio here and pull it down so you guys could see. 42.6 right now for Bitcoin. So not much happening there. Ethereum bouncing around $3,000, 29.3 there. Cardano 1.0. I mean, this is a pullback in crypto markets. You guys know that. For now, for a 7-day, I kind of like this on CoinGecko. They show you the 7-day rundown there. So Solana, some of the ones starting to go to the downside there. Shiba Inu still up over the week, and so is Ripple. So XRP, that is. But that's good, man. So yeah, quick check on all that. I think we've done pretty good, man. I don't know. I may be in all these positions as well as we look to, see what this market wants to do. It's been a relatively flat day on the market. We're only up now that 0.18. So far so good. But I'm excited to hand this off. I'm a tired guy.
Yeah, and keep checking on the VIX, guys, because if that breaks out, you know there's going to be some moves here, and it's looking like it's going to make another test at that top, and you're going to get to see what happens if it does with Trader Prad and Arun. Go get them.
Hey yo, welcome back to a beautiful new week, and we got Arun back in the hot seat. I hope everyone had a great sports holiday weekend. I don't know why I said holiday, but a sports-filled weekend. I for sure did. lots of stuff to talk about, not only sports, but also the market. Markets are having a decent move today, if you ask me. You know,
they're confused.
Sir, what's up?
Let's be straight out. They're
Yeah.
confused on what to do.
They are.
And I mean, that's what you got to do on a market like this. You don't get too eager in either direction. You just try to play the ones that are at the edges of their ranges. And we've